Scorsese, am I right?
Correct.
Hello, everyone. We're back.
Hello.
Here we are.
We should actually introduce what this is.
Should we say our names?
We never do that.
Okay, let's do names. I'm Madison.
That one coughing is Brie.
Hi, I'm Brie. I'm dying.
She's sick.
Only a little.
She saw The Irishman and it made her sick.
Oh no. I'm Frani.
I'm Logan.
I'm Madison. I said that already.
You sure did.
This is
I'm
Crosscut
Madison
Cinema.
twice.
I'm Madison again. I just checked. Still Madison. So anyway, we're a movie, like nerdy kind of podcast that watches films, and then we go over our opinions on said films all together. They tend to contrast sometimes. They tend to not. I don't know.
It depends.
But we always have an interesting angle.
And we always know if there's gay rights.
We
via
do. We
Madison.
know that.
Painfully so. All the time.
Fair enough. Are there gay rights in Irishman? The
Yeah.
answer might surprise you.
Spoiler alert.
I would
Yeah.
say, yes, I already know what you're going to say. Absolutely there is.
That's really funny to me.
But I actually know the thing you're talking about. I'm pretty sure because I thought the same thing.
I'm just fucking around, but like yeah, kind of a little bit.
I mean, if we're talking about dang old Russ and dang old Frank,
gay rights.
that's some.
I think Jimmy and Frank.
That too.
I mean, it's a love triangle up in here.
It is.
It really was.
Martin Scorsese wrote the 3-hour love triangle mob epic of our time, and like we need to appreciate that.
And it was fucking.
He didn't write it. He did not write the movie. He directed it.
No.
I don't want to pretend that he wrote it when he didn't.
No, it was based off of the popular book I Heard You Paint Houses.
Which should have been the title of the fucking movie.
I think it was for a time because there's a title card in there. I think it changed.
Yeah, I know. I don't think that it should be called The Irishman. Anyway, what we're talking about today is The Irishman. And also we're going to talk about Joker.
That's true. We'll talk about Joker in a bit. I'm
We'll
sure.
talk about Joker.
Sure will.
It's kind of related.
If you're a Joker,
It's very related.
If you're a Joker stan, you just want to skip to that part and get mad, sound off in the
I don't know.
comments.
Listen, I got multiple things to say about Joker. It's not.
I have many things to say. If you're a Joker stan, I encourage you to listen.
I think that
And
new
then sound
perspective
off.
might bring something to you, but maybe not. Who knows? So The Irishman.
Yeah, The Irishman.
I saw it long before you guys saw it.
Yeah.
So I watched it for a second time with Franny, and I things do change on the second watch. I can say that now.
So I just watched it. I watched the first 2 hours yesterday morning, and I had set it up for myself that I would have time to watch the whole movie in a sitting, and have some time to like get up and walk around and do shit because it's a long movie for me and for most people. But then it had happened that I had to go to work earlier than I thought, and so I didn't get to finish it. And so then Logan's laughing, and then work. And
That's a sign of a good workplace when you got to go into work early out of nowhere. But anyway.
Yeah, so I had to go in early, and then so I didn't get to finish it at that time. And then so I came home from work around, I guess we probably got back in the house at like 1, and then I finished the last like hour and a half at like 1 in the morning. So I watched it broken up, but I kind of think that might be the way to go. It's a long movie.
Yeah, I definitely took an intermission.
You almost have to.
Yeah. Just to like get up and digest too. I feel like that needs to be kind of broken up into segments.
I wonder if Scorsese would have been better off making this a series.
That's exactly what I said.
And then I wonder if he just doesn't respect television enough to make a series and it has to be a feature film.
Like, I watched it in all one go, and I did not enjoy it. I was also pretty sick at the time. I'm less sick now. But at the time, I was like, what the fuck is this movie? What the fuck is happening? Who are these people? I don't even know. Which
Jimmy
man is
Hoffa?
Ray Romano.
which?
You didn't like
Jimmy
it?
Hoffa? This guy is supposed to be famous. I don't even know who the fuck he is.
That's the point.
Jimmy who the?
Jimmy who? James Dean?
James.
Jimmy Jimmy Dean of the breakfast sandwiches.
Oh no.
But yeah, Bridget watched it before me, and that's what she said. She was like, I feel like this should have just been like a 3-part miniseries.
Yeah, that's really what I felt. I needed a break in there, and I didn't get it.
I mean, I get it. If Martin Scorsese doesn't like TV, that's fine.
Martin Scorsese can do whatever he wants. Okay, so I want to talk about, because we're going to talk about things we don't like about it, obviously. But I do want to say off the bat, we'll get to things we do like about it too, because this obviously, I mean, it's a Scorsese film. There's shit to love about it.
I want to go in and say that I actually did quite like this movie.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about it.
Like I might talk some bad about it, like a little bit, but I want to like put it out there at the front that I actually like this movie quite a bit.
I think that I think the issue for me with this movie is right off the bat, they were talking about this being like his magnum opus, like his best movie. This is not.
No, it's not.
It is messy and it is long, and it's not just the issue that it's long. It's also just really padded out.
Yeah.
There's elements in the film that should have been expounded upon more, and then elements in the film that should have just been fucking thrown away.
It's pretty indulgent.
Yeah, he really was sniffing his own farts on this.
Yeah.
And
Which
considering
is
his
fine.
comments on superhero movies lately and the way he's been treating Hollywood, I think he's very much up his own ass as of late.
Yeah, I mean, you get old.
And nominating it for Best Picture doesn't help, because I don't think it was even
Yeah, I mean,
the 9th Best Picture this year.
Yeah, I don't think it was. I don't know. I mean, I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. But yeah, I mean, this movie reminded me of Goodfellas, which is a movie that I love.
Yeah.
Except that Goodfellas is a whole hell of a lot better.
Same thing with if you think about Departed, Wolf of Wall Street, anything that you can really claim like Scorsese's like tag on. Another thing too is I know this film is meant to be kind of gritty and real and show you the bad sides of being a being a gangster. Sorry, I was thinking of Joker.
Ooh, where is this podcast gonna go?
I was thinking about Joker later, being a gangster, but everything was so muted. I mean, it was fucking boring to look at. I'm just being honest.
You see, I didn't care about that.
You didn't
don't
care
know.
how boring it was
I
to
mean,
look at?
it was
Like,
a little
visually
draining.
boring?
Visually
sometimes,
boring.
But I just liked the movie enough to where it didn't matter.
And then the CG stuff, sometimes it was great. Like,
Ooh.
but for instance, he's supposed to be like a 30, 40-year-old man when he goes and beats up that grocer.
Yeah, he didn't.
He looks like a fucking 93-year-old man kicking that grocer.
Well, like,
And it could have just been a stand-in too. They did it for no reason.
I mean, it didn't look like a young Robert De Niro. Because I know what young Robert De Niro looks like,
Exactly.
and that ain't it.
Same with Joe Pesci. It didn't look like a young Joe
They
Pesci
don't.
either.
It doesn't look like. It looks like It looks like exactly what they did, which was de-age old Robert De Niro.
Yep.
But so they made him look younger, but they didn't make him look like his young self. Because I already know what he looks like when he was younger, because I've seen him in movies that he did when he was a young man.
Taxi Driver. All
Right,
that stuff.
and, like,
We'll get into that.
Yeah, and he didn't look like that. That's not what he looks like. It just isn't.
No.
It's really in the nose with him.
That and just the body movement, there just wasn't enough of a pantomime of a young man. There was it was very much
I mean, he was moving like an old person.
That's my grandpa with dyed hair. That's what it looked like. And the worst part is this movie's fucking nominated for visual effects, and it's gonna win because it's Scorsese.
Well,
even though Avengers literally has a giant purple man walking around that looks more realistic than Robert De Niro in the fucking Irishman.
And that's the thing. I mean, as far as the de-aging goes, it's good for it being something that hasn't been really done before. But I don't think it adds that. I don't think it's a revelation. I think it has a ways to go. But I'm also kind of afraid of how far it can go, because then what's going to be the point of?
Well, you've heard about the James Dean thing, right?
I mean, yeah.
That shit's crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a weird thing to do. I don't know what
expensive too, overly expensive, and
it didn't look that good.
And the thing is, he couldn't really get it out to the cinemas because one, it's fucking 3.5 hours long, and two, the people that were willing to give him the money were Netflix, because they're people are gonna actually be able to sit at home, watch this, pause it, use the bathroom, come back, because without an intermission, nobody was gonna go see this movie anyway.
Yeah, and I mean, I wouldn't have been mad at it if this movie came to theaters and had an intermission.
But it wouldn't have.
I mean, they would never do that. But
that cuts into the movie theater's pocket because they have to have
yeah.
less screens available because they can only have 3 showings of The Irishman a fucking day.
Right. Bridget, what did you think about like Bridget and Franny, who maybe haven't seen like many Robert De Niro movies when he was younger? What did you think about like how he looked, the de-aging?
I like honestly didn't know about the de-aging before. I'd like heard about that, but like didn't connect the dots, you know. And Logan like said something about the CG. I was like, "What do you mean?" And he explained it. I was like, I knew something looked uncomfortable about him. I just couldn't like
There was
put my
some
finger
uncanny
on
valley
it.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
I knew
scenes.
something wasn't right. I'm just like, why not like hire like an actor that kind of looks like Robert De Niro to play young Robert De Niro?
De Niro was talking about an interview where Scorsese was considering younger people, and then essentially was like, I don't need any of these young Hollywood people. It's another moment where Scorsese is like, I'm better than these fucking kids in Hollywood now. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Like this could have been somebody's like big fucking break.
And then a lot of people, like, before it was fully announced, but they knew they were making the movie, were like fan casting like Zac Efron as a young De Niro.
Oh,
Stuff like that.
for sure. That would have been great.
Cool.
And he's a fantastic actor.
He kind of does.
He's
look
not
a
just
little
High
like
School
a young
Musical boy
Rob De
anymore,
Niro.
you know?
And they could do prosthetics to make it close.
Oh yeah,
I mean
for
they
sure.
could they
For sure.
could make him look. Yeah.
Just imagine a skinny Jonah Hill as Joe Pesci.
Oh,
Oh,
my
perfect.
God.
Yeah, it could have happened.
That might have been Jonah Hill's dream role.
That would have
And,
been fun.
and the thing
too.
is, Scorsese loves him too, so that'd totally be somebody he would
That'd be
consider.
cool as fuck.
You see, we're making a better movie right now.
Come
that
on,
explains
Marty.
why it's an
Come
issue.
on. Yeah, I mean, did you feel that way, Bridget? Did you feel like it was just kind of weird?
I mean, I definitely didn't think he looked like younger in it.
Yeah.
I didn't really. I think that was something that I was confused on. It was another confusion to me. Was like the timeline. I'm like, I have no idea when these things are happening.
Oh, you couldn't tell like when the movie was taking place?
Really, you know, I have a theory.
I mean, like I could, but also I couldn't.
I have a genuine theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think the character of Peggy was heavily involved to just show the passage of time.
Like that was mainly what I focused on too.
Because the first time I saw the film, I could tell they were aging, but I had no fucking idea how much, because it was just like Robert De Niro is being painted on right now. I have no fucking clue what his face really looks like.
Right.
And then I would notice Peggy's like, oh, Peggy's a teenager now. Oh, Peggy's
Okay,
she's an
alright,
adult
so this
now.
is the amount of time that's passed.
I didn't like how they just did the face. Like they should have done a younger actor to like move around and then do the face as Robert De Niro if they really wanted it that badly to be his face. It was just like old men don't move like a fucking 40-year-old, you know? And like
Right.
the fucking hands. The hands.
Also,
You didn't
we're
think
old
to
as
de-age
hell.
the hands.
Scorsese uses that satin song. I can't remember what it's called. He uses it in every fucking movie.
Of the night.
Every movie.
I like it.
I do like that song, but it's just like
And they're
You're
like,
kinda just-
shut up, shut up.
it's just you're banking on the same thing every time.
Yeah, I like the song being there. I don't know. I mean, I like the soundtrack and the score for this movie. I mean, I don't know about the score. I don't think the score is especially memorable, but I like the soundtrack. I like the songs that were included. I thought they sort of added to the air.
But Scorsese, he used to make different movies. They weren't all cookie cutter the same gangster movies. I mean, like I've said before, I love After Hours. I think it's super underrated. And there's tons of other Scorsese flicks.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
are not
freaking
gangster
Hugo, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that's super different. And then we get this. Oh, this is Goodfellas 2 or The Departed 2, whatever you want to call it.
And like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me because I love gangster movies. I love Goodfellas so much. But yeah, this is just, and so like this reminded me of it in a way, and it felt kind of nostalgic to me. Like it felt like if I were watching Goodfellas for the first time, which I can only do once. But also it's worse. So there's that.
I didn't feel that. I loved it. I like good gangster
like-
movies and
do you like
everything, and I
Goodfellas?
really
You've
love
seen it?
Goodfellas.
But I think you're a little partial because these people remind you so much of
Yeah,
your family.
I'm kind of partial, and there's kind of something like homey about this to me because I come from a family of Italian New Yorkers.
Is your family the mob, dude?
I mean, I can't comment on
Do you have
air.
mob ties?
I mean, they were in New York around this time.
In New York.
New York. But no, like, just like, I feel like every time Robert De Niro makes a gangster movie that has like Italian gangsters, like, he just gets, like, the actors or the direction or whatever it is, just like fucking nails it. Like, how they talk, how they interact, like, the fucking, like, Catholic shit, the fucking family shit, like,
all the christenings.
all the fucking christenings. That's so Italian Catholics.
He was at my baby's baptism. He's family.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not kidding when I say I really loved Ray Romano in this movie. He was
I did
great.
too.
That's
Holy
why
shit.
I asked you if that was who it was, and I didn't remember his name.
Who?
Ray Romano.
Everybody loves Raymond.
Who did Ray Romano?
He's the lawyer. He's
Yeah,
lawyer.
that's what I thought. But I thought that you were asking me about Al Pacino.
No.
Okay.
I said Ray.
Bill
Raymond or
Buffalino.
something.
He was playing Bill Buffalino, the lawyer.
I got you. Yeah, I thought
I
you were
love
talking
that.
about. I think you were talking about Al Pacino.
No.
I felt like Al Pacino did not look himself.
I think he tried to switch it up a little bit.
I thought he was good though. I thought he was really good.
You know, maybe Jimmy Hoffa is just an over the top kind of guy.
He is.
But I really hope so because Al Pacino felt really over the top. So I was like, I hope this is like kind of.
That's
fitting.
literally how he was.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think this is why I like this movie. Now that I have said with authority what Jimmy Hoffa was like. I find mafia and union history uniquely interesting. So I know a lot about it. So when I watched this movie, I like knew this story. And so like those are like interests of mine. I know a lot about like unions and I am very interested in labor history. And I also really like mob movies and I like mafia history as well. And so I knew about this. And so I think that's also why I liked it because it was like fun to watch a story that I know and that I'm interested in play out, even though the story is like highly disputed.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can just outright say it's a bad movie. It's not.
No, I think it's a good movie. I liked it.
I think that it's unfairly being praised a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good movie, but I also don't think that it's a great movie.
This is the movie that I guarantee people say they loved and they didn't finish. I guarantee if you look through people's Netflix history, they didn't finish this fucking movie.
Speaking of the history part of it, though, I loved the fact that with like the random historical like people in it, how they had like that little blurb come up about like who they were, and how they died. I thought that was so cool.
I didn't know this was like based in history at all. So I was like, oh,
possibly.
I mean, okay, so it was Frank Sheeran.
I fucking believe it.
Frank Sheeran's a real man, or he died. And he was involved with the mob. He was Irish, so he was not a mobster. I mean, he was a mobster, but he wasn't in the mafia because he was Irish. And so this movie is based off of a book that was written about him by a lawyer of his after his death. And basically the lawyer says that he kind of confessed to all these murders, and specifically Jimmy Hoffa. But it's like largely debated. It's not really known if he really did it. There's evidence to say that he did and that he didn't. So yeah, it's up for debate. I don't know.
But I didn't know any of this, so I was like, huh, that's an interesting little tidbit to say about the characters.
That would be cool if it happened.
Like, interesting. All right, cool.
I like the one where it's like he was very well liked. He died of natural causes.
I like that one a lot too. That made me laugh. He was liked by everyone. Heck yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but Al Pacino though, I liked him. I thought he was good. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is when he's just yelling at these guys.
You fucks! You fucked everything.
You motherfuckers!
Wow!
Why would you do this to me?
One of my favorite scenes, just because it cracked me up, and also being an Italian, the fucking Tony scene. They're all named Tony.
Yeah, that killed me.
Fuck Tony are you talking about? They're all Tony.
Tony, and Tony are gonna be there.
Also, there's a scene where he says, okay, so like toward the end of the movie, Robert De Niro's character Frank is calling Jimmy Hoffa, and he's like, we're gonna meet after the wedding and we're gonna have this like little peace deal. And he's like, I'm not going to the wedding. And he's like, why are you going? He's like, too many people I don't like are gonna be there. Like, that's a whole mood, dude.
That is literally
I was like, me.
She literally said that out loud. I watched that scene with her again.
That's me.
Franny was like screaming the whole time that the hit was about to go down.
I was so
Frank
upset.
was like, you know, like
I was upset too, actually. I was like, oh my God.
She really was.
He's fucking betraying you. Like, don't
It made me sad with the son there, Chucky, but it's so hard. It was so hard for me to like the character Chucky or see him redeemable because of the fuck he played in
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it was
Breaking
like
Bad.
Todd from Breaking
Yeah,
Bad.
like shut the fuck up, Todd. Get the fuck away from here.
I
Todd, I'll fucking
They-
kill you.
Jesse
Todd just
Plemons
can't be
is
in
a great
anything.
actor, but man, he can't shake that Todd.
No, I
role.
mean, he's always gonna be Todd.
Yeah,
He's
fuck
always gonna be
Todd.
fucking
though.
Todd.
I haven't gotten there in Breaking Bad yet.
Oh no.
Don't worry about it.
No
You'll get there
spoilers
Yeah,
for
you don't know
Breaking
anything.
Bad, just for Irishman.
I just remembered him from Vice.
You're gonna
From
fucking
Vice?
hate Todd.
Yeah, he was in Vice.
The Dick Cheney movie?
Yes, he was the narrator and the guy that got hit by the car.
I don't remember that at fucking all.
He was also in fuck.
Was he really in Vice?
Yes.
I don't. Vice was so fucking boring to me.
I don't
I thought
remember him.
I thought Vice was very interesting, but maybe my interest in Vice was only because
Who?
my friend was very, very into it. I'm looking up the Vice cast list right now.
Was he really in Vice? I don't remember Vice.
I mean, he could have been.
He could have been. Anybody could have been in Vice.
I am certain he was.
But anyway, yeah, I thought Al Pacino did a really good job. I thought Robert De Niro did a really good job.
I think Joe Pesci was the
Yes,
was the
he did
greatest.
amazing.
I
But
think.
and like Franny said, like to see these guys in a mob movie, like it's like yes, this is what's supposed to be happening.
Yes, they're the quintessential
I'll be
mob
damned.
cast.
Jesse Plemons, you were in Vice.
Fun fact: this
Wow.
is Al Pacino's first movie with Scorsese. A lot of people don't know that.
I did know that.
I liked it because I could have just watched a movie of them just fucking talking and
I know, I
bullshit.
love that shit.
Loved it.
I love that shit. I
Yeah.
love the bullshit talking.
They fucking nailed the they just nailed it. The mannerisms, the way they talk, the fucking interrupting each other. That shit was great. I love that shit.
Yeah, I liked it. And I mean, yeah, for all the things I didn't like about this movie, and there were quite a few, I liked the way that it felt to watch it, you know?
It had a good vibe. I think
Yeah.
it definitely did. I get that it's a sad movie, but could they have sparked any color into it?
Yeah, I
Like, it
agree.
is
I wish
really
that
blues
that
and
had been a
greens.
little bit more fun to look at.
And especially the only scenes that kind of were elevated a little bit was the scenes in Florida with the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm pretty sure Al Pacino would, or I should say Jimmy Hoffa would fucking hate Madison because she's late all the goddamn time.
I am. That's
This was
true.
like-
Oh my god.
Every goddamn thing.
Correct.
I love
All right,
The whole time I was
Madison.
watching this movie, Jimmy Hoffa would fucking scream at Madison. There's no doubt.
If you're more than 10 minutes late, you know what you're saying.
Yep.
You're only saying one thing.
I never wait more than 10 minutes for a man.
Yeah.
Would you wait that long for a woman, Jimmy?
Who shows up doing an interview in shorts?
Like me.
Who shows up doing an interview in shorts?
Oh, Tony Pro.
Oh my
Gone
god.
too soon.
Tony Pro.
Gone too soon.
Was he though?
I don't know. Oh, fuck. I like mob movies. Bridget had not really ever seen a gangster movie before she watched this one.
Sorry, I'm shaming Bridget. She touched the
For not
microphone.
having seen a gangster movie?
No, for touching the microphone.
Bridget
without my
has,
consent.
Bridget was telling me that she's never really watched a movie like this one. I was like, well, it's kind of like Goodfellas, right? And she was like, I don't know, I've never seen Goodfellas.
What the actual fuck?
That's what I said. Like,
Have you seen The Departed?
No.
Wolf of Wall Street, which is not a gangster movie.
but it
You
could
didn't see
be.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
I might own the Wolf of Wall Street.
I do.
somewhere.
We do.
I do. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's me we're talking about
But
here.
but
I own After Hours. I own Mean Streets. I love
Wee.
Scorsese. That's why I
Wow.
really
Streets.
that's why I'm so upset with this fucking movie. But I also am not listen, I'm glad that I got it. Ooh, I'm messing up over here. Hold on.
Do we need to pause?
Yeah, there's something going on.
We're in a new
We're not-
studio.
We're working on stuff. We got a new studio now and
We're still ironing out the kinks,
Yeah.
as it were.
Bree still doesn't have a regular chair. It's still a fold-out chair. Donate to the Patreon.
Yeah.
Other things Brie doesn't have is dear love in her heart for Goodfellas.
Wow.
yeah, because she hasn't seen it. And that's okay.
Yeah, I mean that's okay. We'll
You know
watch
how
it.
we're gonna do that Tarantino month? Maybe
Yeah,
the
we
following
can do a
month we'll do
Scorsese month.
a Scorsese month. Scorsese.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the non-gangster ones. I want to watch King of Comedy.
King of Comedy.
I
We have
love
to-
King
we
of
have to wait,
Comedy.
we have to
Oh
wait,
yeah,
we
we
have to
can't
wait,
talk
we
about
have to
King of Comedy yet.
We have to wait. We gotta talk about less good King of Comedy later. So.
Yeah, we got to talk about lame King of Comedy.
um
Bargain bin King of Comedy.
now let me talk a little bit about the things that I really fucking adored about the movie.
Yeah.
Every person in this movie, no one broke. Some of the most stellar performances from people who didn't have to give a fuck gave a fuck. I did not see a single bad performance in the lot.
I mean, everybody in this movie wanted to make this movie.
Even the girl who plays Sookie in True Blood, the girl who plays Peggy, she says maybe like 2 fucking words.
She doesn't say anything.
No, she does say 2 words.
She does?
She has a couple lines.
She says, "Why didn't you call him? Why didn't you call her?"
Oh, you're right.
And also, no. And there's anything I can do to make you happy? No.
And also,
thank you once, not twice, once.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that wasn't Sookie. That was.
I'm talking about the character. And also, the Sookie person did say, "Why didn't you call?"
Yeah, she did say
Hey, you
that.
fuck. Mm-hmm. Hey, dickhead.
For whatever reason, I thought she didn't say anything at all.
There's kind of some controversy about that, I guess.
That she didn't say anything at all?
Yeah, just that she wasn't given really any lines.
Well,
just that the Peggy character was kind of
I still think the Peggy character is, like, that's one of the things I was talking about where he should have either removed it or expanded upon it more.
I kind of like that it was silent because, like, I don't know, this isn't from that character's point of view and they're not going to force a fucking point of view on her.
I'll say this.
She can come out with her own shit.
I truly don't think there was I think he put her there to show the passage of time.
Yeah.
I really don't think it was a big message. I mean, it had message with it, but I think it was more about this character's throughout all of it. This character I can show like a kind of like a hatred and disdain towards Frank for, even when Frank is at the highest of highs, there's still disdain from his daughter. And we can also show, hey, time's passing, because let's face it, CGI'd Robert De Niro still looks like an 85,000-year-old man.
But it was also a good extra stab with the Jimmy Hoffa stuff. You know, like just watching them connect.
I thought it was
That's a good point.
And it kind of like showed like
humanizing. Bridget had definitely an opinion. What did you say?
I thought that their interactions, Hoffa and Peggy, I thought it was creepy.
I thought it was sweet.
No, listen, culture difference. Italians. That's just how they are.
Yeah, I was.
Well, Jimmy wasn't Italian, but I will say this.
Jimmy. Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot.
What he was a loving father.
Yeah.
And what he also was amongst everything else, he really had, even though it didn't seem like it, that dude had a lot of love for people.
Yeah, no, he did.
So
it was just like a sweet, like extra grandpa moment.
Well, I think what kind of that relationship shows, the more that I think about it, is like Jimmy Hoffa was, even though he did a lot of things and he was involved in this criminal underworld, he didn't seem that way to Peggy. And so he was the untainted father figure that her actual father couldn't be, because she knew what her father did. But she didn't. She knew about Jimmy Hoffa. What everybody knew about Jimmy Hoffa was that he was head of the Teamsters, and that he wanted, to help working people.
I think it relates well. Now, this is a very extreme example, but it kind of goes with the indoctrination kind of thing of like Jojo Rabbit, right? Where like she thought Jimmy Hoffa was an angel. He obviously wasn't, but he wasn't Hitler. But still, the point being, I think her mind was already made up about Jimmy Hoffa because people talked about him so positively, and then he was
and
so
he wasn't
fucking
like
nice
her dad,
to her.
and he wasn't like Russell.
Yeah,
he wasn't like these.
There's
mob
nothing
guys.
charismatic about these mob guys.
No,
but
they're charismatic to like me because I like this.
Yeah, because you like the rough and tough, like, oh, go fuck yourself kind of guy. Like you think that's hilarious.
I mean, I just love it.
So you're a bad example of. I
know.
But most people would look at Jimmy Hoffa. He's like the used car salesman that everybody actually likes. He's definitely slimy, and you can maybe tell, but he's also super fucking charismatic.
Yeah. I like a guy that like is a piece of shit, knows he's a piece of shit, and you're gonna know it too. So that's just me. I appreciate
good morning, Julia.
Good morning, Julia. I appreciate a straight shooter, if you will.
Yeah.
At
least they're honest.
I think the Peggy character, I liked it because I don't think it was as like filler or just the passage of time as you guys do. I think
you said you guys, but I think I was the only one who like actually.
I think it works in that way. I don't know that that's like the point of her. But I think it helps it along.
She was there to show like a humanizing side of these like deplorable human beings, and also kind of like the public's perspective too is what I got from it. Like what we were saying, Jimmy Hoffa to the public, not even just to her, but to the public, was like this great fucking guy. And like, but people like Russell and Frank, slimy motherfuckers, you know?
Fucking Fitz, man.
Fucking Fitz.
Fitz, what a fucking asshole.
He was a fucking asshole.
He's the worst character in this whole movie. I hate
my
him
God.
so much.
And he's like barely there, but
Yeah.
he's like the worst.
It's because he's so lack of opinion, but still so fucking backstabbing. It's like you don't even have.
Correct.
There's nothing to you.
I
Fitz.
fucking hated
Fuck you, Fitz.
the scene where they're like talking about his like salary and shit, and you just see him and fucking Tony Pro
Tony
out there.
and fucking Nixon and
yeah.
fuck the president. They were all golfing.
Correct.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Wait, was Nixon the president, or was he the running for president against? Right?
I think Nixon would have been president
he was
at that time.
he was the president, Franny.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know.
That he was ever a president? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think
wasn't-
she's asking if at the time.
No,
he was president.
no.
I genuinely was
Wait,
not
you
sure.
don't know
if
if
he was-
Nixon was a president.
I wasn't sure if he was
I know,
just
dude.
running against like fucking.
Franny did not know Nixon was for sure president until just now.
I wasn't sure if he was just running against Kennedy.
See?
That's what they made it sound like.
At one point he was, yeah, and then he ran again after Lyndon B. Johnson became the president. There was an
Okay,
election
Franny,
in
I'm
the
gonna
later
name
cycle.
a random man, and you tell me if he
Oh,
was
God,
ever
I'm bad at this game.
We do this game all the time. The best thing too is name a state and ask her which side of the country it's on.
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna name a random person. You tell me if they were president or not. Ulysses Grant,
No, I know that one. That was president.
Lee Harvey Oswald,
President?
No.
Isn't that ridiculous? Oh my god.
Okay. Let's see.
It's a lot of fun.
Lyndon Johnson,
President.
That's not fair. We just said the name like 2
Oh,
seconds
yeah.
ago.
Jimmy
She
Carter,
listens.
Jimmy
Carter.
Carter? President.
John Wilkes Booth.
Guy that shot Lincoln.
Good job.
Here we go. One more. This is the last one. Dick Cheney.
I wish you could see your face.
President.
No.
No. Dick Cheney made money off the Iraq War.
So not
Cheney made
wait.
money off
So
the
like
Iraq War.
so like the actual presidents, but like not a president.
He was vice president.
Oh.
That's
I never
what
know
Vice was
those.
about. if you missed Vice, or if you're like us who don't
so-
remember anything
I'm
about
so
Vice.
glad. I'm so glad she missed Vice.
I got that Kentucky public school education.
Before this podcast, it was so hard to get Franny to watch films.
Hmm.
If I would have shown her Vice, she would have never let me show her another film again. 'Cause she would have bored out of her fucking mind.
Yeah, no.
It's funny. But we were talking about things we liked about this movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I want to talk about the powerful message of the ending.
Oh fuck. I
That
can't.
ending is insanely effective,
Yes.
meaningful, and makes the film art again. Because for me, a lot of the beginning parts of the film were kind of like a best of reel of Scorsese's career until you get to the brutalness of he's not going to glorify the life of a gangster. He's going to show you how fucking lonely and depressing it is.
Before I talk about it, I want to hear what Bridget thinks. Because she didn't really
But
like
not
this.
Franny. I really love that.
Well, no, because Bridget didn't like this movie.
There's going to be a compilation
true.
of I want to hear what Bridget thinks and then doesn't say anything about Franny.
Well,
it is
no.
every fucking podcast.
Because I feel that Franny is less reluctant than Bridget to weigh in. And the reason for this specific moment is because Bridget did not like this movie and Franny liked this movie.
I did like this movie. It felt like home.
Like, it's silly because I'm on a podcast, but I still have trouble like inserting myself into the conversation or like finding a way.
Don't make me feel bad about this. I'm just
No,
saying it's
I
really
mean-
funny. Madison always. I'm not apologizing for this. You're on a
I know, I'm just
podcast.
fucking
It's your
around.
job to talk. I believe in you.
I'm not upset. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it. I just
You're
I
doing
am.
it so well though, and Madison's really laying it on.
Madison might be. I'm not.
You should see Madison's
I
face.
struggle
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, here's the thing. I believe in you, but it is your job now.
So do I.
It
I
is-
believe
it
in
is
you.
my
Anybody can
job.
But
Right.
I want to know what you thought about the ending of this movie because you didn't really like this movie. So were you affected by the ending of the way this movie ended?
I feel nervous to say what actually happened in my brain, but I didn't realize.
Dude, no, just
Spit it
say
out.
it.
Please say it,
Just
please.
say it.
I haven't heard this. I don't know.
I
what
used
it
to think
is.
Benchwarmers was a great movie. Okay, we all have things.
and you were right. No, I'm just playing.
It's tough,
It's
man.
not a good movie.
But my point being that people's opinions can be absolutely bonkers. I just want to hear it. I want to hear
So
what
what
you
did
thought.
you think was happening?
Okay, so I, again, at the time was sick and I felt like crap. And so I was playing on my phone and also watching, but that led to some confusion. I am confusion. Particularly about who each man was. Each man was.
No. Oh no.
So what did you think?
I just somehow missed. I understood what happened. I just missed it.
You're
half
every
of-
Republican grandpa who saw movies like The Help and Dreamgirls. You're not able to differentiate
no.
the characters.
She's like, I don't know who these white men are.
They look so
Correct.
different too. They are not different looking Italian white men. They've tried their hardest to really separate the way they look.
But anyway, what did you think was happening at the end?
So good.
I mean, I understood what was happening at the end, but I had to read the Wikipedia page to understand that him leaving the door partway open was a Hoffa thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Also
was
a gay rights thing.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
gay rights.
Absolutely.
But I completely missed that because I wasn't paying attention.
But did
as
you know
closely as
who
I
it
should've.
was that we were looking at the
Yes,
end?
I was able to track him the entire time.
Okay, you were able to keep your eyes on Frank. That's good.
I just still struggle because I'm new men were entered the playing field.
She said they're all named Tony. I don't know.
Oh
So they're
no.
all Tony. Okay, so when we talk about Tony Pro, do you know who that is?
Was he the one with the cigar? Oh my god!
With Gaddafi? What'd you say?
What?
I just had a stroke.
No.
Was he the
You're
one?
gonna chew weird. It's not gonna be good.
He was the one with the cigar, right? No.
I mean, they all had cigars. It was the Italian
Jesus
mob.
Christ. He's the one who liked spaghetti and
He-
meatballs, right?
He was
the one
very
with the
specific.
accent.
He was very specific
They
looking.
killed Tony Pro.
Who was Tony Pro?
Who was Tony Pro?
I don't
what
know.
did Tony Pro do?
I don't know.
us.
He was 10 minutes late, Bridget. He wore shorts
Oh,
to
it
a
was
fucking
him.
meeting. What
The
kind of
tiny
man wears
guy.
shorts to a fucking meeting? The little guy.
I remember him now.
The little guy.
Oh, by the way, Jim Norton playing Don Rickles is the dumbest fucking thing ever. I just wanted to throw that out there. I hate that. That's all I want.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if I didn't say that, I would have forever regretted it.
You'd have hated
Jim Norton should not play Don Rickles. That is a fucking slap in the face of memory of Don Rickles, the comedian in the club.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. I'm
It's
sorry.
upsetting.
I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
R.I.P.
I just loved everything that Ray Romano did.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
That was
Not
great.
Ray Romano.
So okay, I'm gonna quiz Bridget again because I think this is fun.
This is great. We can quiz Franny too on
Who?
historical facts.
Yeah. Who was Russell Buffalino?
He was the lawyer guy, right?
No.
Incorrect.
Do you know
Wait,
who-
no. Hold
do
on.
you
I know who
who-
he is.
Okay.
No, you know who he is now because you're using context clues.
He was
Because
the,
you already ruled out one of the Buffalino boys.
There's two Buffalines, and
He
you
wa-
ruled one out.
He was the gas station guy.
Yes.
Who was
I
the
mean,
gas
he was
station
more
guy?
than that.
Yeah, he was literally the crux of the entire tragedy of the whole film in a
He
way.
was the gay rights of it all.
And also the absolute torment of it all too.
Yeah, correct.
He was calling the shots. He was telling him what to do, right?
Oh Jesus Christ! You didn't see this movie, did you?
I mean, yeah, he was.
I
he was
saw
kinda-
it, but
he
I
was-
didn't see
he was
it.
Joe Pesci. Let's see if I can think of another good one to do. Let's think. Who was another character in this movie? Okay, who was Angelo? What was his role in all of this? I'll give you a hint. Harvey Keitel.
I don't know.
You
He
kidding
was
me?
the mob boss.
He was the other.
in
He was the gold
charge.
ring, the third gold ring, or you should say the first gold ring, because he was
Really,
the
yeah.
guy. He was the guy.
He was the boss of the
You
mob.
got it. You don't know how good a friend you got.
correct?
That guy. That fucking
Like-
guy.
I feel like I remember this movie just only slightly better than I remember Cats.
Oh,
Just
no.
to say, not at all.
Wait, I have a quiz question.
Yeah.
That guy from Vice, Todd, who was he?
He was like the son-in-law, right?
Of who? Or not
He
a
wasn't
son-in-law.
either.
It wasn't a son-in-law.
Who is he related to?
Hoffa?
Good.
How was he related to Hoffa?
I feel like it was an in-law thing.
No.
It was his son.
That was his
Just
boy,
his son.
Chucky. That was his boy. He raised him. That was his boy, Chuck.
He charged that man with a gun.
Yeah. He charged. When you see a gun, you go near him. When you see a knife, you go the other way.
Who was Dolores?
I beg you not to charge a man with a gun.
Fuck Dolores
Listeners?
is.
Oh no, she doesn't know who Dolores is.
To be fair, Dolores was really unimportant.
Correct.
She was just there to cry at Robert De Niro and tell him that they ruined their childhood.
Yeah. Correct.
It was so hard being your daughter.
What did he do to the gas station clerk?
I don't know.
Oh no! I was saying that as a joke.
So, did it make sense to you
Hold
then,
on.
Bridget?
Don't pause. Just keep going.
Did
I
it make
got it.
sense
It's
to you
fine.
then, Bridget,
Just
who, like,
No.
how Robert De Niro's character Frank, like, how he got involved with the mob in the first place?
I think
Yes.
because, like, he met the gas station guy and he
station
Russell
guy.
Russell Buffalino.
The thing that's funny to me is that these were all real people
And she just
who
says,
I'm sure thought that they were gonna go down in history as like famous
and
gangsters.
she's like the fucking gas station
and
guy.
Bridget can't tell them apart for love nor money.
Russell Buffalo. He was a fucking lawyer, right?
No, that man did not go to law school. I guarantee you.
I don't care if he did it.
That was the lawyer.
This movie is just so quotable.
It is. It was good. But yeah, was it clear to you how this man got his start in organized crime?
So the gas station guy and the lawyer guy, he introduced him and they were like, "You're Irish, so you can't be part of our mob, but you can like do it."
Okay, what was he doing before he met the gas station guy?
The deliveries.
Right. So how did he get involved?
What was he doing with his
The
deliveries?
meat. It was the meat.
The meat. He was doing the meat.
Where's the beef?
That's
Like,
the
I
whole
feel
point. Where
so-
did the beef go?
So he was stealing
Oh yeah, I
The
forgot
beef.
about that.
from the delivery company.
He was, as some would say, thief in the beef.
He was stealing the beef from the delivery company to sell it to the mob guys. Then the delivery company found out, but he was a protected member of the Teamsters Union. This is why you should join your local union, kids. So as a member of the union, his lawyer happened to be Bill Buffalino. Bill Buffalino asked him if he would give names of the guys that worked with him that he sold the beef to. He said no,
nah.
and Bill Buffalino then knew that he was a trustworthy man. And he heard he painted houses.
Do they?
Do you know what that means, Bridget?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
True.
Okay, just playing with you.
Question.
Yeah.
So, like, they still, like, have unions? Or are they just, like...
fucking God.
Literally, the only thing I thought was, like, if you work at fucking, like, Kroger, you're part of the union.
It's like
right?
Mass and I are doing a podcast with like lost children.
Like, what
I
the
might
fuck?
as well be high
Like-
again.
Like,
Honestly.
do you have to work at... Do you have to work at Kroger to be in the union?
To be in the singular union?
Brandy, that's not how unions
Oh my
work.
god, if only we should have I mean, there's the IWW.
What?
I'm being a union nerd, but whatever.
What's
But
the
yes,
IWW?
The one
the
union?
International Workers of the World, Bridget.
Okay, I'm sorry. We didn't all work at a worker center.
We can all
But we all
we
know
can all
what
read.
fucking unions are.
We all can read.
IWW
We all can
is.
keep abreast of politics.
There's a reason why the Amazon training video is like, don't form a union, or you'll
Wait,
get fired.
unions
You
are
can
bad.
just, you can just make one?
This movie is like high anti-union business. And yes, you can just make one.
Let's make a fucking union.
Madison is
If you feel at your workplace like you and your fellow employees are being treated unfairly,
Madison, the only person who should get a union is you.
I'm fucking A. I should unionize the 7 people who work at my job. I can't because like 3 of 7 are managers. I should unionize them.
And they're all married.
Okay, so yeah, that leaves me.
Yeah, they're all married to each other. Really good stuff.
That leaves me 3 people. To unionize. 3 does not a union make. I want to say
You guys
that.
are more of a huddle.
No, I will say that if you. No, I will say this. This is a real law. If any of you actually need help forming a union, please send an email. I can help you. But
That would be the
knowledge.
guys. If you want to form a union, donate to our Patreon.
No, don't do that. I'll help you form a
She'll
union for
fucking
free.
help you.
It was a Patreon joke. Patreon
I know.
joke.
But actually, this is true. If you are going to go to your boss with a problem that you have about your workplace, you should always go with at least one other person because that makes it collective bargaining and they can't fire you for that.
Whoa.
Ooh.
It's a law.
It's a law.
I mean, obviously, I'm not a
she
lawyer.
knows.
If that turns out to be untrue, please don't kill me. But like, as I understand it, you should always go with another
You
person.
just get
because that makes it
all
collective.
the 3 people that listen to our podcast fired from their jobs.
Ouch.
I want to be clear that they still can fire you, but you have legal recourse if they do. Read the real laws. Don't take me for it. But
Links below. Just kidding.
But I do know a bit about this. But
My
yeah.
girl, she knows all the union things.
So are you gonna
But
form a
anyway.
union at your work or?
I mean, I literally 3. The 3 of us.
It really? Oh wow.
Like,
Okay.
Wait,
also, would
no,
they
it
even be
really is.
willing?
Trace.
Can you
That's
join
pretty
a
good.
union
That
if
makes
you're
me
not
happy.
part of the same workplace? Like,
Yes, in a way. You can join industry unions. So, like, the Teamsters was an industry union. Teamsters are people who drive trucks.
yeah, I knew that.
So, that's an industry union. Like, Kroger, as you mentioned, is part of the SCIU.
Bridget's over here fucking dying. You guys are like
Yeah.
unions.
For those of you not from the Midwest,
No, it's okay.
Kroger is a grocery store.
It's a grocery store chain. But yeah, I believe
It's a part of Ralph's.
I believe that Kroger is part of the
But
SCIU,
better.
which is like a service and custodial workers union. I think that's the one they're part of.
So they're just
other
Wow.
companies are part of that union, if that makes sense. Similarly, like if you're a carpenter, you would join the carpenters union. And certain shops are union shops.
It's so funny you're explaining this because I'm like, duh. But I guess it's not duh.
I mean, not to everyone, not to
guess
Franny
not.
and maybe the listeners. If you, I mean, this is not a leftist workers solidarity podcast. It could be.
I would love to do a political podcast.
I would
with
love to
you.
do that too. You know what? Like, hell yeah, we'll make our fucking Marxist.
We'll do
podcast.
it. We'll do it.
Um,
I'm a political
this
guru.
this is not that. But if you have union questions, feel free to reach out.
Anyway,
If you want to know what a union is or how it works, I'll explain it to you.
or who the president was.
I think, yeah, that too, I guess.
so the Irishman,
The Irishman.
or I Heard You Paint Houses.
I really wish that this movie had just been called I Heard You Paint Houses.
I mean, it's got
Because
a,
I love that title.
there's no Irishman title card, but there's a. Your girl's over here. Are you
I know,
okay?
are you
You want
alright?
some water?
Drink some goddamn water. I
need
poured
to
you a
hold my
glass.
What's
That is
that?
your water.
Thank you.
It's been your water the
Sweet
whole time.
Lord, this whole time you've had this water. You're like, oh no, that's mine.
I poured this bitch of water before this podcast
If
even
you're
started.
coughing that hard,
Mine.
if you're coughing that hard, you take whatever fucking water you want.
Do you need a
I
cough
am
drop
for
or some
that.
shit? Oh god, this M&M is smashed. Sorry, I just ripped open a pack of peanut butter M&Ms. I think I dropped one on the ground too.
Madison's favorite.
That's why dogs
Send
will
them
never
her
come
way.
in here.
But yeah, I think this movie should have just been called I Heard You Paint Houses because it's a great title for a movie.
It is a great title for a movie, and like I said, it's the only one with an actual title card. There's no Irishman title card in the film.
Yeah, and then like how cool of a description, like how cool of a way to refer to like murdering people is that?
I mean, maybe
Cool
it's
murder.
It might have something to do with the book. Maybe there's some rules about it and some law stuff.
Yeah, but
Good old union book stuff.
But yeah, it's fun because like, and then in the end of the movie, when he kills Jimmy Hoffa, you see his blood like paint the walls, and it's like
That's where the whole expression comes from in the mafia. Anyway, like
yeah.
the whole painting walls thing's pretty sad. And the worst
And then
part
the
is
carpentry
he was
thing,
they were redoing the home, like they were like fixing it up.
Right.
And then he painted the walls. I'm like, oh Jesus fucking Christ, Scorsese, you want to rip my goddamn heart out right here?
Yeah.
And when he was talking to Angelino, right? No, when he was talking to Hoffa, And he was like, "Oh, you do carpentry too."
Mm-hmm.
Before they even met.
Good to hear. Heard you're one of my brothers. Heard you're a brother.
Correct. But yeah, the ending of this movie, man, it made me sad, dude.
Oh, gee, yeah.
I went to bed sad. Bridget was already asleep, and I went to bed sad.
It was
I'm
really.
sorry, I was so tired.
That was a really complete. Sorry, what were you saying?
She was saying she was tired when I went to bed. I came to bed, and I was like, man, that was sad. She was like, yeah, let me tell you about this girl named Sharky at my job.
Sharky? Are we allowed to say that?
It's her nickname. It's not her legal name.
Sure. Oh, you made it the name.
Is Sharky a real person?
Is Sharky real?
Okay, you did tell me a lot about Sharky.
So wait, Sharky, if you're listening to this, we love you. Sorry.
Yeah,
I really do love you, Sharky.
Yeah, Sharky.
I'm not going to share your personal details, but Bridget was telling me a little bit about you. Well, I was broken up about.
We love you here, Sharky. Come on the podcast.
Was I awake?
I mean, you told me about Sharky at length.
Did I?
Is this turning into the Sharky episode? Anyway.
And you asked me about a restaurant if I'd ever eaten there.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that. I mean, I remember it, but I thought that was earlier in the evening. I didn't realize
that was
you were
when
in
I
bed.
was in bed, trying to either A, go to sleep, or B, talk about the Irishman.
I have a real admiration for how much information Bridget actually holds. She really lets a lot of that shit go. That's That's healthy. Just let all the bullshit roll away, dude. Information. Who fucking needs it? Get the fuck out of here.
Did I watch a movie? Yes. Did I retain any of it? Absolutely not.
I think it had Robert Pacino in it.
They all played Tony.
Yeah, they were all. It was Tony, and Tony. I remember that scene. I remember I got all the names there. Anyway, so.
But yeah, the ending of this movie, dude, it was like very upsetting
and so complete.
Yes.
Like it was so. Like it didn't. Like obviously he dies, but we didn't get to see that. But
right, but you know he's gonna die alone.
And just like the casket scene where he walks in with Action Bronson there, which was a very weird choice, but ended up being kind of sweet because he was being like it was almost like I think the reason why they picked Action to be the coffin guy is because De Niro being old is used to people being like, oh, sweetheart, really, really nice talking and all that stuff, where he was used to jargon where they'd be like, you motherfucker, you fucking cocksucker. So when his casket guy was talking to him that way, I think he respected it and liked that.
Right.
And then when he picks that green casket, dude, I'm like, oh, shit. Here I fucking go.
Yep, I was like, holy.
That was a great shot, too. He panned it over, and he really caught your attention on it. Made it look like De Niro was still looking, but we all fucking knew the moment he landed on that green casket, the fucking Irishman is going to buy the green casket.
Yeah.
I liked how, like, my heart didn't like it, but for the movie's sake, I liked it, that he never got any reconciliation at the end. And
well,
it
but
shows,
he also
like,
never felt any remorse for what he did.
No, so here's the thing. I take that as the tough guy not wanting to admit I think that he was fucking riddled with guilt.
Yeah, of course.
Because he's just
especially
an old
with the
stubborn
daughter
man.
stuff.
Especially with the phone. He mentioned like there was the worst phone call. And then
what kind of man makes a phone call like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he felt remorse over like Hoffa's death. But I also kind of don't think that he regretted the choices that he made.
I think he did. Because there was another part where he was talking and he said it's all water under the dam. I think that was essentially a subliminal submission to the fact that all his murder weapons sit in the water.
Yeah.
And when he says it was all under the dam, all water under the dam, that was him essentially, wise guy, confessing to what he did. And it was so clear. I think that he regretted the choices he made.
Yeah.
Maybe he in his present thought didn't know that.
Yeah.
But I think that a part of him, I mean, if he could go back, he pretty much said it himself, he would.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely tons of regret there. Especially that phone call. Sweet fucking Lord. That phone call was really painful for us to see, let alone to imagine a character holding on to that for several years.
And it was just so upsetting because, like, I don't know, knowing, like I knew how this movie was going to end before it began. So, like, when you see him saying, like, Jimmy, it's okay, like, I'm your friend, get into this car. It's going to be fine. I'm here to protect you. and then to have him, watch him walk in and shoot him like that, it was just upsetting. Like, it was upsetting to me, dude.
But then
because of the gay rights of it all,
It's also like, what does De Niro's character do though? I mean, he's so wrapped in the mob, right? Like,
right. What are you gonna do?
What is he gonna do? Is he gonna put his life in danger? Maybe
his family.
Maybe he would, but I argue that he wouldn't put his family, like you said.
Right.
I think that if it was just him, there would still be a chance that he would try to fucking get out of there with him.
Yeah, but I mean, if he were to say no, I'm not gonna do it, then one, somebody else would have done it.
Absolutely.
And two, he probably would have gotten killed for it.
But it was dark, and it was the moment. There were so many moments where you think, man, Russ is such a great dude. But then the moment where the real moment where, like, you see the flip is when they're in the kitchen, they're making the salads, and then Russ goes, we did everything we could for him. And then he, even with sunglasses on, you could see the look. He goes, don't call him. And
Right.
it's fucking actual evil rolling across somebody's face.
Yeah.
And it's so just like subtle, but like it made my fucking stomach turn, especially the second time where I really was kind of zoned into what they were talking about.
But then
I
you
mean,
see
and then-
Russell's regret later, like his remorse later when they're in the nursing home or in fucking
in
prison
prison?
together,
So, yeah, I mean,
in school together.
I honestly, I don't see that. What I saw was Russ essentially being like, he knew he was going to die. And he's like, this is the way to do it. You go to church, you say you're my bads, and I'm all good. It's like he was still trying to cheat the system.
No, I was talking about Hoffa when they were talking about Jimmy.
yeah, I mean, he did say like he was a good man, and he.
Oh, I forgot about that part.
No,
Yeah.
I think they both felt super fucking bad about that one.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's like Russ kind of said, or Frank kind of says too. When you do things for Russell, you don't do it for money. You do it for respect.
I think Russ, though, even in the moment where he was like, he was a good guy, he didn't. He maybe felt a little remorse, but he justified it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was like, it was us or him.
And then when
I
he,
chose
like I
us.
said, when he was on his deathbed, he's like, I'm gonna go to church, and then he got sick, and then he died. But he went to church out of fear. He didn't go to church out of remorse.
Yeah.
I think that he wasn't like, I'm not gonna say he was just outright an evil person, but
No.
he was definitely one of the worst people in this film.
Yeah, and I mean,
he
like-
played it off so charismatically and chill.
And like
Yeah.
him giving him that ring, that wasn't a gesture of kindness. That was something that meant something.
Yeah.
That meant that you belong to this side of things and not the other.
Yeah, you're the only. It's the only three people have this ring, and one of them is Irish. It's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Like, okay, you just bonded forever.
Where
There's no getting out of this.
You just branded me
Yeah.
as being one of you. So like, yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, all of it was just acted so well, and like you really felt the agony of that decision that he had to make. Like, what do I do? Because it was like as a viewer, you were like, oh my god, like he's really got to betray his man. Like this, he was part of his family, you know.
Do you think the fish saved Frank's life?
Fish.
The fish.
Yeah. I
So
don't know how I feel about that.
so there's a couple
Yeah, I
of
don't
ways to
know.
look at the scene. You know how he's like, there's all gross and everything in the back.
Yeah.
And the one dude was still insistent on sitting in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of people took that as he wanted to be right by Jimmy. I took it as if things went south, he's behind Frank to drop Frank and Jimmy.
Wait, what do you mean?
So you know, like when
Bugs?
Think about that.
Oh, I
so
got you.
so
I know what
because
you're
he
saying.
saw that particular character, it's kind of a whiny character.
Yeah.
In any other situation, he wouldn't want to sit in the fish fucking soaked back seat. But he
Right.
was adamant about it, which made Frank realize, oh, I need to be fucking careful. I'm gonna sit in the back with Jimmy because then
Yeah, that makes sense.
I really wonder if that's what that was,
Right.
which was really fucking cool, and I didn't catch
Yeah,
it
it
the
was
first
clever.
time.
Oh my god, the way that
I
character.
love that freaking fish scene though. When
That
they were
fish
talking
scene
about
is
it.
great, yeah.
When we were watching it, and I was like, Bridget, that's me and you.
Oh my god.
And she was like, who's who? And I was like, obviously, I'm the one drilling you about the fish. Like, what kind of man goes and buys a fish and doesn't even know what kind of fish he bought?
I like the
That's
way
me.
that Bugs character went out. I forget his first name. I just remember his nickname. Sally Bugs. Like he fucking was at the state building or some shit.
It was a bad hit.
And he told somebody, but they didn't tell who they needed to tell.
Yes. So he got popped off.
Yeah, that shit
Regardless.
But Yeah, I mean, the end of this movie just really... It was a great ending.
I mean, like, it might be one of Scorsese's best endings.
Yeah. And if this were a miniseries, that would have made a great last episode. And like, you wonder how, how Martin Scorsese thinks about this movie and how much it kind of reflects his life and career.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, I mean, he kind of made a career off of making mob movies and off of making... I mean, he didn't, because he has many other good movies.
But let's be clear. There is no Scorsese unless you glorify gangster films.
Right. And like... And so, yeah, so he spent a career kind of glorifying gangsters, glorifying these scumbags, and then it's like, well, he's an old man now, and Robert De Niro's an old man now, and all the people in this movie are old men now, and it's like, looking back on it, did you do the right thing? And not even just on the gangster thing, just like a career in Hollywood, like who did you alienate along the way, and what have you lost? In the end?
Why no Ray Liotta?
I don't know.
I feel like he hasn't worked with him since Goodfellas, but you think that would be like a staple.
That's fine. I didn't need him in there. Him
What?
and his fucking eyeliner eyes.
Dude, he's a great actor.
I know, but that would just be copy and pasting Goodfellas.
No, because what I would have done is I would have put him in the place of the guy who ordered the laundromat to be totally taken out. That would have been a great choice for that character.
Yeah.
I don't know. I missed him. I didn't know. The first time I watched, I didn't check the cast list. I just assumed he'd be there. Because I'm like, every fucking buddy else is, but he wasn't. But then he was in Marriage Story, so it's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like, I don't know. And it's like, you look back on a career and, it's a hard career to be in. And you wonder, like, if you could go back and do it again, would you do the same thing? And then, like, what did you lose along the way when you made these choices? And, like, life's full of choices, isn't it?
And the thing is, I don't know if he realizes the real reflection of Frank being like not really acting like he's remorseful versus Scorsese being like, oh, comic movies aren't real cinema, this, that, and the other. I don't think he sees this contradiction of like, okay, you're being that character.
Yeah.
Like you're not being open to new cinema. Like,
I don't know. Like, it's really interesting because we kind of said something similar when we were talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's like these two directors who were like, getting old now, and they're part of sort of a generation of directors who we are not going to always have anymore.
They're event directors now.
Yes, it's changing.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that they both made these movies this year where they sort of have a character that's much like themselves.
Yeah.
And this character has to reflect on a career that they've had. And like, I don't know, it just makes you think about it, and like, and I think that's kind of partially why the ending of the movie made me sad, both because, you see this Frank character alone, knowing he's going to be alone, and, like, knowing exactly why. But then it also made me think about, like, the movies that I love by the directors that, like, got me into watching movies. And it's like, yeah, like, we're not always going to have that, and we're going to, like, have to look back on it. And like, and like to see that those directors are looking back on it themselves is like, it's weird. It's weird, man. So many movies this year have like, despite them all being different and really good, like so many movies are just about like the consequences of actions.
Yeah.
And the rippling effect of the things you do. And I don't know. It's just interesting to think about like at this moment and at this present moment in the present where we're seeing a lot of movies about like repercussions.
It's just it's an interesting time for film.
Yeah.
In the sense that there are titans coming out and making, like Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese, and they're making the movie that is almost in some ways a message to themselves, right? It's really a reflecting kind of thing. Frani, did you fall asleep?
No.
Wow, I'm out here like pouring it out for y'all about like how I feel about this like
so
fucking
into it.
bygone.
I was too.
I'm
Franny's
listening.
fucking sleeping. But yeah,
Frani,
like
you were legit asleep.
yeah, you were asleep.
Oops, sorry.
But yeah, like you kind of know that these guys are sort of like they're wrapping it up. They're ready. They're realizing, and we as a group, as a people who watch movies, are realizing that like these guys are like making their preparations to hang it up. They're doing their last few movies. They're picking out their caskets. You know what I mean? Like, in such a way. And so it's weird to see that the movie end that way.
That's why I love the one thing I do love about Scorsese and Tarantino right now is they are kind of aware of their
they know.
And the thing that they're doing is they're shouting out or representing artists like Scorsese executive producing Uncut Gems, and Tarantino, that's the dude where like if you want like a random fucking indie movie that nobody saw, he's going to tell you which ones were the best of the year.
Yeah.
I appreciate that about it because it is like a passing of the torch.
Yeah.
But I get a little frustrated with the fact that Scorsese or Tarantino, either one, they put out a movie and it's already good before anybody's seen it. And that I think is this
true,
movie.
But, I mean, yeah, and I think
this movie is a solid movie.
Yeah, I like it.
Like, not to talk too much about the Oscar stuff because we'll get into that eventually. It's not even the 10th best film this year for me.
I mean, yeah, and that's interesting too because like, what does it mean to have a legacy of work, and like to have your reputation precede you when you make this work, and like how is that good and how is that bad? And it's just really interesting. Like this movie is a movie that gave me a lot to think about, not just about the movie itself, but also about about watching movies in general. And like, you know, we talk about all the time how much like cinema is changing. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's just interesting.
I took Franny's pillow because she keeps falling asleep.
I saw you. Do you think we should say our sort of grades, rankings, and then maybe take a pause?
Absolutely, because we're gonna after we do these ratings, we're gonna talk more about Martin Scorsese in a totally different light, where you're gonna hear us just absolutely kissing on his booty.
Correct.
I loved this movie.
Yeah, what'd you rank it, Franny?
I went first last time. Somebody else can go.
Okay, I'll go. Okay, well, you know what? Actually, I feel like mine's kind of gonna be different, so I want to hear yours first. I went first on a different one.
So I can go first, I guess. I would give this movie I would say like a solid C plus B minus. Like I haven't decided where I'm at between those. I like this movie. I like the experience of watching it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. I don't think it has a lot of rewatch value for me. Especially because of the fucking length.
It's a fucking
like,
afternoon.
I think, you have to like block out a day to watch this movie. Yeah, I mean, it reminded me of Goodfellas, but the difference is that I could watch Goodfellas every day.
Same.
I would not watch this movie
I actually
again.
did. Fun fact: one summer I watched Goodfellas 3 days in a row because I wanted to watch it with different friends.
Nice.
And I didn't even feel it. It was great.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess I'll go because I don't know if you guys are ready yet.
I know what I'm
This is
thinking.
a 6.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
I think it's got a lot of great stuff to it, but when a film feels like homework, you kind of got to take that into account. And even more so, when it's being so heavily praised, I just feel the need to like be brutally honest and not give it any if I was seeing this and I'd never seen Goodfellas, it would be like an 8 out of 10. But the fact is that these are tropes. They're repeated. They're drawn out. And they were done less well. Mm-hmm. And the color in this film is like absent. But it's not for... maybe it is for a purpose, but if it feels like the purpose is putting me to fucking sleep. So, 6.5 out of 10.
I'd go with a 7.5. I really liked it. I want to give it an 8. I want to give it like a fucking 9. But just the length of it, like, because it's a movie I want to sit there and rewatch, but like, I'm just like, when the fuck am I going to have 3 hours to rewatch this? Because I love it and I feel like I would like it a lot more a second time around even, but yeah. And I guess it was a little like dark, like if, the coloring and everything, it was kind of like hard to watch at times. Yeah, that's how I feel.
I would probably give it a 5 out of 10.
Jesus
well,
Christ.
for a movie you didn't watch.
I'm just waiting for comments. Jesus fucking Christ. That is brutal. That's a 2.5 out of 5 if you break it down that way. If we keep going doing the math, that is the horrible score.
Fair enough, but
that's how you feel,
she
dude.
didn't like it, dude.
That's how you fucking feel, right?
She didn't watch it.
I feel like probably if once I'm over this cold or whatever it is I have, and I go back and I rewatch it.
She never will.
You don't need to do that.
It's 3
honestly,
hours.
I don't want.
Good.
She doesn't.
I don't want you to do
and
that.
I'm telling you right now that she won't.
I won't. But like if I went back and rewatched it, I probably would like it better. But just because, like, it changed my perception of it, how I was feeling. I don't know.
I would go back and
that.
watch this movie, but I would like skip parts. Like if I had to go and watch this movie again for whatever reason,
If I was
would
on
watch it again, but I would skip stuff.
if I was on a flight, I'd watch it again.
I feel like I could like have
Because
this.
it's just such a long time with such a singular thing. It'll help me. Because there are times where it's like, whoa, 40 minutes just went by. Like there's quick parts of the movie too. So you can really get into one narrative, sit there, rewatch The Irishman on the flight, get off, and it's good. You might not even finish the movie, but like, holy shit. This flight was so short, I didn't even get to finish my movie.
I like background noise when I do stuff. Like when I do dishes or something, I put on like some whatever the fuck
it's
I'm
officially
watching.
a dishwashing movie.
No, but like I like stuff. I like to watch the same things over and over again. So this would definitely be something, especially since it's like on fucking Netflix, so accessible. Like I'd put that on while I'm like fucking like cleaning or like.
My goal is I
doing
want to watch
dishes.
I want to watch the In Conversation thing on Netflix.
I do too.
I haven't seen it yet, so maybe we'll do like a little bit
If
and
we
mention
watch
it
it,
at some point.
I want to say, I've seen The Godfather one time. I don't like it that much.
Part 2 is better, but they're really overrated.
I mean, you can come for me about The Godfather, but what I did the time that I watched The Godfather was I watched it and I fell asleep around the middle, and then I woke back up and I was not confused. So you could kind of do that with this movie, I think. You could put it on, you take a little nap, wake back up, and you're still kind of be where you are.
Honestly, you can pretty much skip the film until the phone call with Jimmy Hoffa. That movie, the movie starts there.
Really?
All you
I
need
loved all of it.
I mean, I really like the beginning for what it is.
I'm talking about the rewatchability of it.
Yeah, true.
A lot of that stuff is like character development. If you just know Frank is an Irish guy who works for the mob, boom, there goes 45 minutes.
I will say that I picked up, when I picked up the movie, like I said, I watched like 2 hours and I watched like the last hour or so at the end, like later that night. Where I picked up was at the beginning of the banquet scene. Then when they're having this banquet for Frank and everybody's there. That's a really good place to start watching this movie. Like if you want to rewatch this movie but you don't want to watch all of it, that's a really good pickup spot because that was a really good last hour.
That's true. That's really that is like exactly when Jimmy and them aren't getting along. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe even like if you wanted to get a little bit more, start it when JFK got elected.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good spot to start it.
Yeah, so I think if you were going to rewatch this movie, that's the way that you ought to do it. Okay, so break time.
Yeah, we're going to take a little potty
break. We're going to come
break.
back, and if you hadn't listened to the first half of this podcast, you're going to think that we would kiss the ground that Martin Scorsese would walk on. And we are back.
It was the longest pause ever, longest break, even longer. I think maybe not as long as the uncut.
It's literally actually been a week.
Yeah, it's been a whole week.
Yeah.
So we said we were going to stop for a moment, but then I think Bridget's deceased now. Franny fell asleep.
Yeah. It was a rough moment.
Everybody was like sick and tired, and nobody wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we'll just get it next week.
Mm-hmm. We kind of put us back, setting up the studio. So sorry we were late or a week late on the video, but here we are.
Here we are.
It's coming, baby.
Mm-hmm. So Joker. Okay. We're not going to get into the awards talk right now. That's a separate video. So we're going to ignore all the stuff that has been nominated for and winning.
Correct.
Do want to mention, though, it did win the Golden Lion at Venice Film Festival.
We're going to ignore all the stuff that it's been winning, but it did win this thing.
No, this is different because it's not like a general Academy thing.
No, I know.
This is like a prestigious fucking award that people really respect. And it won.
Jesus.
And, I mean...
It doesn't deserve that.
Oh, so we got Franny's opinion right off the bat.
All right. The thing I want to say about this movie is, like, there are some people in my life who are like, this is the best movie I've seen all year and possibly ever.
I know.
And that is upsetting to me.
So this movie...
Like, please see a good movie. I beg you.
I was telling this to Madison before she saw it, because we actually kind of started hanging out around the time this movie was coming out.
That's true. When you decide that I wasn't actually like a mega bitch.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
I had bitch energies.
For sure.
What did you just say to me?
That's
Nothing.
what I love best.
Did you disagree that I was a
No. Anyway, so...
I just bumped the microphone with my cup.
That's fine. At least it's not as bad as Dwight punching it during the Cats video.
I thought letting them out while I was very high was a good idea, but turns out it wasn't.
I'm dying. Bridget killed me.
Oh no, everybody's
I'm the only one that hasn't been infected.
I'm sorry.
So
I'm the source of the illness.
She's a plague.
I'm the
Patient
plague.
zero.
I'm ill as fuck. I'm so ill.
I mean, one might even say I'm down with the sickness.
Yeah. Get up, come on.
Hey, stop.
Sorry. Anyway, but we started talking, and it became clear to both of us that we're both kind of film buffs. And then I saw Joker first, and she comes up and asks me, "Well, what did you think about Joker?" I'm like, "I think you'll like it, but I think that it's just a worse version of Taxi Driver." And what movie?
And King of Comedy.
Exactly.
Which I love.
They're both fucking
I love
great.
King of Comedy so much.
I haven't seen either of those movies.
I also haven't, but I think I need to.
They're both what makes Scorsese kind of get away with things like Irishman, because they're really fucking brilliant films.
Like, despite all like the trash talk we just did when we talked about Irishman, like he's still daddy. So
he really, I mean, it's hard to criticize him because you're just like, he's done so well.
Exactly, like he's cinema daddy.
Yeah, he's. I don't know if I want to say that, but
I feel like that'd be a good T-shirt, Cinema Daddy.
That's more Tarantino.
That's what I
me,
wanted this podcast to be called.
She did.
She did really want it to be called Cinema Daddy.
I think.
And
it's
then
been
we
taken.
looked it up, and it was taken. Yeah, like, and then we like tried Cinema Poppy, and they're like, "Oh, that's weird."
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, so we didn't do that.
Yeah.
Cinemami.
Cinemami?
That was a thing, wasn't it? Or Cinemamas.
Yeah, but we
was one.
hated that. But I really wanted to be Cinema Daddy.
Anyway.
Whoever has Cinema
we're
Daddy,
not.
like,
But
you
now
have
we're
a great
cross-cut
name.
daddies. Anyway. Why did that upset you so much?
I don't know. It's just.
It was like I just said the
visibly
most fucking
cringed.
offensive thing ever. It's really not even that different from what you were suggesting we be called. And you're like, how could he say that?
Cinema Daddy is good. Or
It's
like
not.
Film Daddy.
Film. I think. Okay, we're gonna just move on now.
I could have been your Cinema Daddies.
Anyway, so this film, if you've never seen The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver, you're probably gonna think it's really brilliant and like super new and
I don't
different.
know. I mean, Bridget and Brandon didn't like it.
I mean,
much.
I
No, they
liked
did,
it.
though.
Yeah, I liked it, but then like you told me it was like a ripoff, and that kind of upset me because I
Well,
liked
you
like the parts that you said was kind of like
you
a
shouldn't
ripoff.
take what he says, though. I mean, you should watch those movies for yourself and decide.
But he's
if
my
it's a
cinema
rip-off.
daddy.
Okay, now I'm cringing.
Martin Studio. I'm so sorry.
Moment of silence for that awful
Oof.
joke.
I think we might have to quit the podcast right now.
All right, that's enough.
All right,
that's enough
goodbye.
for today.
But no, like I liked like the whole like watching him kind of like lose his fucking mind, and like the character that like we all thought, the neighbor lady that we all thought,
Oh, the one that like it made it seem like he was fucking her,
yeah,
but he was never actually fucking her.
I liked that.
I mean,
was so
I
dumb.
saw it coming though.
I also
Same.
feel like I saw it coming. I was like, is this A Beautiful Mind? Is this what I'm watching right now?
And then they're
Oh,
like,
good point.
oh, also, by the way, be careful
Like-
of spoilers. Anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't want to spoil a movie from like almost 20 years ago.
Oh, A Beautiful Mind. I was like, Joker spoilers. I thought we were pretty
sorry about
spoiler
that.
free on this
Anyone who hasn't
podcast.
seen that,
Yeah.
I thought we were pretty open
Just,
to spoilers.
should.
Russell
Spoiler
Crowe.
alert for A Beautiful Mind, I guess.
Russell Crowe is a gem in A Beautiful Mind.
I mean, I feel like it was warranted in A Beautiful Mind, and it's understandable. And
they
did
also
it
don't. They don't
well.
serve it up to you like, this is what happened. Let me explain it to you in the movie.
Yeah, like the
Like
dumb
Beautiful
thing.
Mind was
well.
like, people are smart enough to. No, they really didn't overly explain it like this film did.
No, I know. That's why I
The
said.
dumb-
they
yeah,
did
that
yeah.
was like the dumbest thing
In A
in the
Beautiful
world
Mind.
for me. It was that he's sitting in her apartment, right? And she comes in Joker, not A Beautiful Mind. And she comes in, and
Logan just almost
my
straight
shit.
took.
and she says like something to the effect of, one, who are you? Or two, what are you doing here? Or something like that. She says something that makes it very clear to an audience that she doesn't know who the fuck he really is.
You're the guy
other
from
than this
down the
guy
hall,
that he
right?
met in an elevator. She
something
met in
like
an
that, yeah.
elevator like one time.
You're that one guy from
But
down the
then
hall.
the film proceeds to
like-
show us all the moments when he thought that she was there, but without her.
Oh, that pissed
And
me
And I was like,
off.
okay, like
That was
I'm
insulting.
like Todd,
well-
I want you to know that I'm not an idiot.
Here's the other thing, too. It wouldn't have been even as bad if they didn't show us early on that he has delusions.
Right.
If the whole film had never played, like, made us think maybe he has delusion, maybe he doesn't, but there's a clear delusional moment in the film that lets you know, hey, guys, he's not too good in vibranium. And by that point, we're like, okay, he's not a reliable narrator. We're not going to trust him through the whole movie. If that would have been the reveal moment, it wouldn't have been good, but it would have been better.
Yeah, but like I already figured that it wasn't really happening because it didn't make any sense.
But it's
I mean,
almost like you're
he's
dumb if
creepy,
you didn't see it
he's-
coming because of how obvious they made it even before the reveal.
Right, and like because it just doesn't make sense. Like when
Like,
you think about this beautiful woman and him, like he's disgusting.
Yeah, that actress is actually one of Logan's like celebrity crushes.
Zazie Beetz. She's not.
I do like her. But yeah, he's like disgusting. He's gross. He's creepy
Yeah.
as fuck. You think that she's gonna go for a guy like that? Never. And for all you boys that identify with Joker, a girl like that will never go for you. Never. Clean up your act.
Okay, well, all right, so let's say this real fast, though. Not that I'm defending those boys. Trust me, that's not what I'm saying. But there is a certain amount of the movie where, like, okay, you want me to suspend some disbelief, fine. But don't make the character so obviously delusional
Right.
that I don't trust anything he does at all. There's parts of the film where it's just like, it doesn't matter whether I believe him or not. He's so fucking crazy.
Right.
If it did happen, big shocker. If it didn't, okay, he's a liar. Fuck him. There's no consequence. There's no ideas. There's like no structure
Yeah, I see that.
because you don't care whether it's true or not because he's such a crazy fuck. It's like, oh, did he actually steal the sign or did he get beat up by kids? No one cares because if he got beat up by kids, he's still crazy. If he stole the sign, he's still crazy.
Yeah, and like that's the weird thing about it.
Since he's almost like he can't be responsible for his own actions, it's like you don't care what those actions are anymore.
Right. And like you contrast it to King of Comedy. Like spoilers for King of Comedy, I guess, since
So
we're doing
good.
that now.
We have to. We'll put like, we'll mention like maybe in the video title spoilers for King of Comedy and all that stuff, but we're not doing like a full review.
like
Probably
in the
not bad at that.
description.
Maybe the description, yeah.
In the description, if I remember. But anyway, it's not. I mean, the movie's been out for a long time. Like, I'm not gonna. No. It's King of Comedy, whatever. See it or don't. But it's not like in that movie where you are like. That movie is not trying to leave it up to the question of the viewer. Like, is he imagining this? Is it really happening? Like, you know it's not really happening the entire time. You know that he's operating under this delusion that he and what's his face are like actual friends.
Oh, the Robert De Niro character?
Well, Robert De Niro is the comedian.
Yeah, you're saying that him and Joker are friends, that delusion, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm talking about a King of Comedy.
Oh, you're still talking about King of Comedy. Yeah, I got you. I
Yeah,
understand.
so like that movie isn't like leaving it up to the question of the audience whether or not he is friends with, I can't think of the talk show host's name.
I can't either.
Right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Like it's not leaving it up for debate. Like, oh, is this happening? Is it not happening? They're not trying to do that because you see clearly in the shots that these are his fantasy delusions that he's living out.
And what makes it so much worse is this is not only a copy of two films. This is a copy, essentially, of a copy of those two films. Because the director came out pretty recently and was talking about how 1 Hour Photo was a big inspiration. Well, what a 1 Hour Photo ripoff?
Right.
Taxi Driver and King of Comedy. I mean, in a sense. I mean, not full on, but a lot of aspects of it. So it's like this dude, there's you can take concepts and be inspired, but this was blatant robbery. And the worst part is having Robert De Niro in it is almost like a classifier. Like, he's in the movie, so everybody's cool with us basically ripping them the fuck off. And then if this wins Best Picture, what that is saying is Taxi Driver as well as King of Comedy are not as good of films as Joker is.
I mean, I don't know that it says that.
Were either of those films even nominated?
I mean, But it's Best Picture of the year, not of all time.
But I think a lot of people are pretty contingent on the fact that this is one of the best years in film in a very long time.
Well, that's true. I don't know. Like, yeah, I think that's sort of the thing for me is, yeah, just like the way that you were talking about, like how you don't care if it's real or not because it's already, I don't know, just the way that it's set up.
And,
like, the Joker wants you as an audience to be like, is this really happening? Is it not happening? But you just don't care.
And it wants you to take a social message, like it's like Parasite
but
or something.
I'm not sure what it wants that message to be.
It's acting like it's Parasite, but then it has a kid fucking roll down a flagpole, or roll down like a thing like Batman. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm actually getting upset. I'm sorry.
I don't know what the message of Joker is. Like, I don't know what the message that they wanted to send was. Does anybody at this table want to, like, give it a...
I think it has
give
to
it a
do.
run?
I think it has to do with the way people treat people and like the visibility of people and how they should be treated. And this character who's kind of downtrodden, nobody gives a fuck about. He's dangerous in the sense that for one, nobody takes him seriously, but also for people treating him poorly, maybe resulted in him being a poor person. But let me counter argue what the movie's trying to make. No one is responsible for their actions except for the people. And if we're going off of mental illness, and that's a sickness and should be taken care of. And maybe it's speaking on behalf of how the American medical system or whatever you want to call it, or healthcare, whatever it may be, isn't good for people and doesn't care about people. And maybe that's the message it's trying to pass, because there's a lot of mentally ill people out there who aren't getting the care they need and are treated more like they're criminals than they are sick people.
Yeah.
But the film is not smart enough to get that point actually across, because it villainizes somebody who's sick. Correct. By either saying this person's a killer because they're sick, or they're sick and it made them a killer. Both are fucking horrible examples.
And then it says the thing that, like, if you treat people badly, this is what they'll do. Well, like, no. You're responsible for your fucking actions.
Absolutely.
And
if you're someone who's mentally ill, that doesn't mean that because someone treated you badly that now you're a killer. I feel like a lot of your issues were always internal.
And the thing is, like, when I watched it, I came away feeling kind of bad about myself. And I was like, why do I feel bad about myself? And I think that, like, what the message I got from it was, like, poor people and mentally ill people are scary. Like, they will kill you.
I mean...
That's definitely not, like, an unfounded...
Like that, I don't think that's what the movie is trying to say, but that's just kind of what it ends up being.
But and then it's just kind of how badly they did it in such poor taste that's how it came out.
And then I think it's trying to also make a point about, sort of the shootings that had happened by saying, like, look, this guy doesn't have a message. He's not political, but you're making the Joker the face of this movement that he doesn't belong to, which is what happens in the movie. And I just think that is a poor way to handle the situation that it arose from, because you can tell that they did that with it in mind, because the Joker says, I'm not political. The Joker in the movie. Yeah. He said, like, the person says, I'm not political. It's not about politics for me. I don't care about any of this shit. So the rioting that's going on in the street doesn't have fuck all to do with me. Well, and I think that's a shitty thing to say.
Well, what's even worse?
Because you owe it to look critically at why people are getting this message from your movies. And even if that's not the intended message, you owe it to think critically about that.
Well, here's the thing, too. The Joker contradicts that concept when he's on the show.
Correct.
Because he literally says you wouldn't care. It's like, you care about those people because they're rich Wall Street people, but if I was the guy in the street, I wouldn't give a fuck. It's like, you do have a political message. And then the other issue with this film is...
everything is political. And if you're going to pretend that it's not, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry.
And the other issue with this film is that... Here's the thing. Comic books aren't inherently dorky. There is real messages in comics. Mouse or Watchmen.
I love Mouse.
Or X-Men even. There are real messages you can pull from comics that are standard. The issue with this is that they're not doing a good job coming across seriously, to the point where you go online and you read fan theories that the midget character, the small person character that was in the apartment, oh, that's going to be the Penguin. This is how uneducated these fucking people are watching this film, and this is how ineffectively he drew the character away from the comic books that it's known for, trying to make a serious message. And the issue with it is, if you wanted to make this message, you could have made a movie that wasn't called Joker and had this character, and I'd be more inclined to believe you were actually trying to fucking say something.
Yeah, like, and then yeah, it's just like the weird thing about, you know, it sort of becomes a class uprising, which I'm for, you know. But then I think the movie doesn't, I don't know if it wants us to support that uprising, and then the Joker is sort of the hero of the movie, or if it's saying no, like, these poor people's anger is bad.
And if the Joker is the hero of the movie, why did he kill his mentally ill mother? You know, why
Exactly.
did he do all these other things?
And so, like, I think it's confused about what it's trying to say with that. And I think that it's a shitty message to say, like, oh, look how easily riled up these poor people are. They want to kill all the rich people. They want to kill the Batman. I mean, he's not Batman yet, but you know what I'm saying.
They want to kill...
Right,
They want to kill, what's his name? Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, and, like... And I don't know. I just don't understand why that sort of narrative needed to be there. Because I don't see it as particularly... what's the word I'm looking for?
Conducive?
No, I don't see it as particularly, God, I can't think of the fucking word. Particularly subversive. I don't see it as being particularly revolutionary.
Yeah, like,
to
not
say,
unique.
like,
The issue with this film...
yeah, like, I think, I don't know, it just kind of pisses me off to say, like, oh, look how easily these poor people fall behind this cause that they don't even understand.
The issue with this film is that it's basically, it's a product, right?
Right.
And it's coming out knowing that it's a very divisive time for people, as well as the comic book world is hype now. The comic books are the biggest franchises, most like well-paid and like biggest pop culture events that are out now. And the issue is, this film did exactly what they wanted to do. It is the most successful R-rated film of all time, and it is I think it is officially the most profitable film of all time. Because they barely spent any money on it, and they made a fucking $1 billion
Right.
without China. The biggest film market in the world.
Yeah.
So no matter what we say about it, it totally won. And they're going to make more. And it's fucking gross.
And they shouldn't, like this is a movie that shouldn't have a sequel.
Yeah,
not because I don't even think it's
not.
good. Like, even if I thought this movie was a good movie, I wouldn't want it to have a sequel because I don't think it needs one.
And then the worst part is I'm worried because I'm a big fan of Batman. I'm a big fan of superhero films. I love popcorn films. I think that it's fun to have an event, like a roller coaster ride kind of film to kick back to. And I'm really excited about the Robert Pattinson Batman. Yeah. But how does Warner Brothers not look at Joker and think we should do that? I mean, it made $1 billion. They spent $10 million on it.
Right.
How are they not going to think that?
And
so vote with your wallets, please. People who saw this movie, we get it. We saw it too.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to say that I hate everything about it.
I mean, I think Joaquin Phoenix's performance is absolutely
I thought he
mesmerizing.
did a great job.
I agree.
And yeah, I just think, you know, the superheroes that I loved when I was a kid were the people, you know, like the Peter Parkers, who were poor kids who didn't have any other way except for their superpowers to make things right in their communities. Or, like, I was a big Batman kid because I saw Batman as a guy who, like, facing corruption on a scale larger than he could handle, but taking care of it using his privilege for good, basically. And so then to, like, turn that around and say, oh, actually, well, like, the Joker is really the good guy, or is he the good? Like, I still can't tell what it wants the message to be. Is class uprising good in Todd Phillips' eyes, or is it bad? I can't.
He tries to act like his
decide.
open-ended interpretedness of like the interpretation levels of his film. He tries to act like that's a positive, but what it's called it's lazy writing, and it's clearly that I don't really care about getting a point across. I want a film that starts conversation because conversation sells tickets.
Right.
It clearly, if he really wanted to make a film with a message. You can have a couple of different ways to look at a film, but this film is so broad. Nobody really fucking knows what he was trying to say to the point where he comes out like, it doesn't, you can interpret it any way you want.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Bullshit.
It's trying to do so many things because it doesn't know how to pick which one it wants to do. Because, like, yeah, sometimes it's like, you know, you hear the Joker himself say, like, this movement isn't even associated with me. These are people doing whatever they want, and I don't care, and I'm not political. And, like, these people are killing people, and that's just as bad, kind of. But then, like, you see the scene where he goes into the movie theater and they're literally laughing at that Charlie Chaplin movie. What's it called?
I can't remember.
It's like one of my fucking favorites, and now I'm blanking on it.
Is it the Hitler one?
No, it's the one where he's the factory worker.
Oh God, I can't remember.
God, what the fuck is that movie called?
I love Charlie Chaplin.
Is there something with industry in it?
Fuck, it's gonna drive me crazy. I have to Google it. Hold on. You all keep talking. I'm gonna try to figure out what it is.
So, back to Joaquin Phoenix for a second. I think that he genuinely gave it his all, and I appreciate the fact that Todd Phillips at least let him do what he wanted with it.
Modern Times. Sorry.
Modern Times is so good.
I love Modern Times.
But
Sorry.
I argue though that I think he even kind of sees it, right?
Yeah.
But when a movie makes $1 billion, they're willing to spend whatever amount of money they can to get back the guy who made $1 billion. And how does somebody, even Joaquin Phoenix, who's very grounded and very environmentally cautious and everything, how do you turn down like $200 million to do a movie?
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Are you just a crazy person at that point? Like, I'm sorry, I have morals too, but if somebody offered me $200 million, he gives a lot to charity. That could go to a lot of fucking charity.
Yeah, and I mean, he did a great job. And like I said, there are things that I liked about this movie, and this movie entertained me. Like, I watched it, and I was invested in the things that were happening. But then
Franny
at the
was
same
like
time,
freaking out during it because it is very tense. I mean,
I liked it at the time. Like,
it's a tense film, but it's just like for people who have seen King of Comedy and Taxi Driver before, you're like, and this is gonna happen, and then it does, and it pisses me off.
Then, like, some of the things some of the moments in the movie that I liked the best were basically just shot for shot scenes out of King of Comedy.
Or,
like,
for
where
me, the
he's
Taxi Driver when he's tying his shoes. I mean, and then you see the kind of morphed, like skinny ass body.
Right.
I'm like, Taxi Driver.
And then when he's like waving the gun around like he's practicing, Taxi Driver.
Wait, the skinny part is in Taxi Driver?
Essentially, so at one point,
he looks gross in Taxi Driver.
At one point, he has his shirt off, and you see he's got like side bags and stuff, and like
maybe I shouldn't.
He looks unwell, and he's straining his body in a way that is exactly the same as Joaquin Phoenix in the scene where he's tying his shoes.
Yeah,
I mean exactly.
And then like the scene where he's like, sort of pretending that he's on the show with Murray or whatever. Is straight out of like those scenes in King of Comedy where you see him sitting in the chair with the cardboard cutouts and like
it's literally the same.
Those scenes are great in King of Comedy.
Here's the thing: even the blocking, even the movements, they're similar.
The same.
You cannot tell me he didn't watch it. Like Todd Phillips, you can't tell me he didn't watch it like right before they shot that fucking.
Oh
scene.
yeah, he did, and it just made me upset when I was watching it because on the one hand, like if you're a Scorsese fan, you're like, oh, that's from King of Comedy, but then like. You see it and you're like, well, have an original thought, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And like Logan said, there's one thing about like drawing inspiration for something, but there's another when you're literally copying it.
Remaking scenes shot for shot.
Yeah, that's
rough.
And I mean, like, I understand like doing nods to things that like you found.
And like having Robert De Niro in it is a fun nod. Where it would be if they didn't like copy so much shit. It would be a fun nod to like, yeah, isn't this kind of like those movies?
It really did feel like, hey, we're actually literally remaking these films. We're gonna put Robert De Niro in it so people don't think it's bad. People
Especially because Scorsese was originally supposed to be a producer on this movie and then dropped out.
And he didn't. He hasn't seen the film, right?
Hasn't he?
He hasn't, and he's only seen like the trailers and like clips and stuff.
I mean, I don't know why he would need to see the film that he already made.
He's essentially, he's
like, I already did that.
I think he said something like, "It's probably fine." I think that was like a quote. I kind of love that.
And I mean, that's a pretty good way to describe the Joker. It's probably fine. And like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to come off like I hated this movie because I didn't. Like it's well made. It's just not originally made.
I didn't hate it either, but I think I've grown a hatred.
I like it less the more I think about it.
And then the real issue is a lot of the film. Like I remember, like that was pretty good, that was all right, whatever. But I'm somebody who's known for rewatching movies like 2 times, 3 times, 4. Like I rewatch films always because I want to re-experience what I had, as well as I love to analyze shit after the fact.
Yeah.
Like when I have a moment to just be like, okay, I don't have to pay attention to the story. This is for me to just check the art of the film, to check the choices made. I literally haven't re-seen Joker, and I don't care to. And that speaks a lot because I rewatch fucking everything. I rewatch The Irishman, motherfucker. I rewatch everything.
Like,
I don't think I could. I don't think I could handle it. Could not handle it.
Like some good things about the Joker, like it really. Well, then I don't know. It
was beautifully shot too. I want to add.
Yeah, and it sort of captured the feeling of it being like the 70s. But then I talked to somebody and they were like, "Wait, it took place in the 70s? Was that? Were you in that conversation? I don't think it was you, but it was our friend who thought it was like the 50s or something."
Feel like yes, I was there for that.
Yeah, and I was like, well, maybe not then. But then again, I also watch a lot of movies from that time period, like King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. So, like, maybe that's, like, why I could feel those similarities. Maybe other people couldn't.
Also, I do give props to the where they decided to shoot everything. They shot it at the Comedy Club Dangerfield. That's, like, a perfect choice. They shot, like, the steps and everything. Like, the locations were great. And there were things in the movie, I mean, as much as I hate to say it, there were things in the movie that he stole that he shot better. But, but the reason why it's shot better is because there's been time to gestate on what maybe wasn't done that well.
Yeah.
As well as the equipment's better.
Yeah, I was going to say, just like technology alone.
Mm-hmm. But I can't deny that it does. There are scenes that look better. It's just factual.
But it's just not as an engaging of a movie.
But it doesn't mean anything because you can paint a pretty painting, but if you're just copying somebody else's, well, you can buy better paint, but it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you if you just exactly copy it. If you're a good tracer, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
but you're not the artist.
It's like doing a Bob Ross at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's still going to be a Bob Ross. No matter what. Props to Bob Ross.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross is daddy.
I love him.
He's my art daddy.
Is Bob Ross dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Okay.
Oh, he's so dead.
R.I.P.
Oh, R.I.P. I said R.I.P. and then I was like, did he actually die though? And then
yeah, no, we did.
Had to fact check
Frani,
myself.
what are some thoughts on the movie for you?
I like separate because I didn't see like Taxi Driver or King of Comedy. I can kind of separate like that, like the fact that it's kind of rips them off from it because I didn't even have those like background resources to go off of. So I liked it for what it was. I enjoyed it. I thought it did insult the audience's intelligence a lot. Like, I did not need that much explanation of his mental illness. You could fucking look at the dude and see he's crazy. They didn't have to go into that much
Especially like the
fucking
little,
detail.
like, I have a condition little card.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
obviously he's got a condition.
fucking God, I
liked
know.
that. I liked that. I have a condition card. I thought that was kind of fun.
Like, if some dude was on the subway, like, just kind of laughing randomly, I would be okay with that because I'm like, yeah, this is a city bus. Weird shit happens. But then if you approached me to hand me a card, I'd be like, you can't see me, but I just did, like, a spastic, like get away from me movement.
It could
Like
save
the,
him
I'm
from,
not
like,
even worried
getting...
When she
about it,
forgets the
fine.
podcast isn't visual.
Oh, correct.
It could save him from,
in
like,
my
getting,
life,
like...
no man is allowed to approach me.
Correct.
I have this great little button on my jacket, and it says, like, price per conversation. And it says men, $100, all others free. And that's the rule I live by.
God. I'm not surprised.
Sorry, Logan.
Logan's
But anyway, yeah, like if
I
a
owe
weirdo...
you so much money.
No, it's okay if I initiate.
Okay,
We've
good.
already got an agreement. Like, it's fine.
Hey, I'm one of the good ones, right? I swear. I hope.
I mean, the good ones don't have to ask, do they?
That's a good point.
But yeah,
There I go.
I did think they over-explained when we found out that one girl wasn't with him.
Yeah, like, obviously not. In the
Yeah,
universe.
exactly. I feel like they over-explained the mom thing. We didn't have to go into that much detail about how crazy she was, him find her records, everything like that.
So two things about that. One, when we came out of the movie, I distinctly remember Franny turning to me and go, "Didn't you think that was good?" Did I not turn to you and go, "That was King of Comedy and Taxi Driver"? I was like, it was good, but it was those two movies. You're like, oh, okay.
Like, I liked it. I did like it. I didn't know the source material, I guess.
But the other thing is, this film is so fucking, like, trying so hard, like, so desperate to tie in Batman.
And, like,
It is
of course
fucking desperate for it.
Bruce Wayne's not his fucking dad.
Like, oh my, well, Thomas Wayne. Bruce Wayne, that'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah, no, that would be wild. But of course Thomas Wayne's not his fucking dad. Like, and, like, But then there are people who are like, well, maybe he actually is.
Well, to be fair, the film makes it open.
I don't really.
It does because it does. It really does because at one point.
Oh, I guess they did force her to like sign some papers and shit.
Yes, exactly. So there's an open idea of maybe she was crazy, but maybe she's crazy, but that really happened. Like but that's the issue with the film.
They don't.
What the fuck actually happened? There's no story to the movie.
Right.
And there's nothing here.
They don't
and
make
then,
decisions.
like, him being Thomas and like Thomas Wayne being his father just like undermines so much of what this movie's message could be, which is that you're responsible for your own fucking actions.
Did you hear about the secret ending that they didn't put on anything? Like it's a Hollywood rumor.
No, what?
I can't confirm this, but you can read it a lot of different places. I heard it from Kevin Smith first, actually, his podcast.
Okay.
But apparently, there's a hidden ending where the people who shot Thomas and Martha Wayne was the Joker character, Joaquin Phoenix. And then you see the shot that we see in the film where the kid's like all desperate and everything. But then you see the Joker character shrug his shoulders and shoot the kid. And then the film's supposed to end.
Huh.
To which I say, that's a clusterfuck stupid ending. And I'm glad they didn't do it because then that whole thing was fucking pointless.
Right, then all of that was for nothing.
But at the same
time...
And
also,
time...
who's going to be the Batman?
But at the same time, that'd be a nice little dig of like, okay, so they're not trying that hard to tie this into the Batman because they just murdered the Batman in this film. It is a standalone.
But then what's the point of having this movie if there's no Batman?
Right.
There's already no point to having this movie.
Okay, I mean, you're right, but like, what's the Joker without Batman?
The Joker at the age he's at when the Batman's actually old enough to fight him.
Joker's
He's old
gonna
as
be like
fuck.
60.
Exactly. And then I read another thing where they said, well, actually what's happening is you're seeing the film as the 40-year-old version of Joaquin Phoenix, but he's telling the story and he's envisioning himself at his current age, but actually the events of the film happen when he's younger.
That's fucking
To which
stupid.
I responded, you're trying really hard to make Batman and Joker fight. Read a fucking comic book. You don't need this movie to do it for you. God damn it, watch The Dark Knight. It's a better film.
Right, like you're... Sorry. If you have to do all that, you're trying too hard.
I'm being a little
That's
intense.
fucking stupid. Like, and then for this like mystery ending to be that he just kills the Batman. Well, then why does this movie exist? Why even call this movie Joker?
It could be completely.
Why even have the Waynes be there? That just doesn't make any fucking sense. That's what pisses me off about this movie is he's trying to do so many things and does none of them well. Like, pick one, I beg you.
And then the issue is, the first time I saw the dancing on screen, where he goes, he shoots those people and then he goes in that fucking restroom or whatever it is or something.
It's kind of fun.
But the issue with it is when you come to find out, because I thought, wow, that's a choice. That's an artistic choice that Todd Phillips made. Then you come to find out that was entirely Joaquin Phoenix's idea. He had no idea what he wanted Joaquin to do in the scene with the bathroom. He just said, do something.
Oh, fuck Todd.
That is so upsetting.
That's terrible.
And then he has Joker jumping up and down the steps doing the fucking Peter Parker pelvic thrust. This movie's a fucking joke. Yeah, you have to catch that.
And that's why everybody's memeing that step scene, but nobody's memeing the bathroom scene because the bathroom scene is good.
And the issue with the bathroom scene is there wasn't even any music yet. That came after. Or I think that came the day of.
And it's just like, Todd.
My boy Todd, what are you doing?
I just want to talk, dude.
And here's the thing. He's done other films, right? I want to say this about one of his films, The Hangover.
Yeah.
Okay. People think dumb comedy. That is a really, actually, well-shot, well-directed film that has comedy in it. If you watch it, it actually has elements of great filmmaking in it.
No, I like The Hangover.
It's visually interesting, and there's a lot going on, and it actually doesn't treat you like you're stupid.
Yeah.
There's things in the film you have to connect on your own. So what the fuck happened? You made a smart comedy and then a dumb drama? What the fuck are you doing? You clearly have the chops to make a good drama.
And like so many of the good things that I liked about this movie too were so much because of the acting and not so much because of the direction. Like I really liked the final sort of confrontation between the Joker and Murray on stage. Like I thought that was kind of like cool. And like that was a scene that was like, this is inspired by King of Comedy, but it's not King of Comedy. Mm-hmm. And like that was good. And I really liked, sort of that like flashing back and forth and then like, actually seeing like the gunshot on live TV, like that all those things were sort of like fun and cool and interesting. But like the rest of the movie just wasn't that. But that one scene was really good and I really liked it. Even though I kind of, and like, I don't know, I really like the way Joaquin Phoenix said Murray.
Yeah, I mean.
So that's fun. And I liked Robert De Niro. I always like Robert De Niro doing things.
Yeah, I mean, Robert De Niro was great, and he's always great. God, I love that guy.
I love that man. He's a treasure.
So, you guys want to get into ratings?
Yeah, I don't know. Bridget, do you have any thoughts that you want to say before we do ratings?
Or Franny?
Or Franny? No, I just feel like you asked Franny all her thoughts, so I was like, maybe we should ask Bridget her thoughts, because I feel
this
like...
is going to be an ongoing meme,
I feel like you and I have been monopolizing this conversation.
Yeah, we're really loud.
Because we're mad.
We're extra mad because we respect film.
We don't like it.
We don't like when people poo-poo on Scorsese.
I liked the movie when I saw it.
That's fine. There's nothing, by the way.
Yeah, no, there's
if you
nothing
liked
wrong.
it, especially if you haven't seen the other films.
That's why I've been quiet, because y'all have just been shitting on it. And I was like, I thought it was good.
I think the issue is this. It's just so similar. Above all else, above all meanings, above all everything
And
else.
like,
This film is living off the back of something that had to try way harder and is getting way more recognition than those things.
and like, I haven't seen every Martin Scorsese movie.
You gotta watch After Hours to Lily Bar.
I have not watched After Hours.
It's so good.
I want to watch it though. Yeah, I
So
haven't seen every
dorky.
Scorsese movie, but of the ones I've seen, which is, you know, a sizable number, I would say King of Comedy might be my favorite.
I fucking love King of
I
Comedy.
love King of Comedy so much. Actually, I just want to stop this podcast right now and do a group watch of King of Comedy. Do you own it?
King of Comedy is amazing.
Do you own it?
I used to. I might still. I gotta look. I used to
I
have
rented it on Amazon Prime when I watched it.
I used to have this Scorsese like silver collection, and it had like all the weirdest movies in it.
Oh, that's cool.
But I'd have to look. I don't know.
But anyway, and like just like because that's one of my favorite movies, it was like, I don't know. But anyway, Bridget, Franny, your thoughts?
I was just really uncomfortable the entire time.
Sorry. I call.
Any headphone listeners are dead now.
I'm so sorry.
That was like a blast.
I tried to turn away from the mic.
It hit her too fast, too
I
sudden.
didn't know it was coming. Go ahead. Sorry.
But I was just really uncomfortable the entire time. And, like, maybe that's the point. I don't know.
I think the appearance of Joaquin Phoenix is what made you uncomfortable.
It is.
Yeah, but that, like you said, Bridget, that was the point of his appearance, you know, to make you uncomfortable.
like, his appearance and how skinny he was, like, stirred up those young ED tendencies in me. And I said, wow, I never want to touch food again.
I saw a pretty good meme that said thigh gap goals, and it just showed his like skinny ass. I was like, oh no.
Like, disgusting. And, like,
Yeah, so I think like that aspect is like took away from Bridget's like ability to appreciate and
just
enjoy
was
it, which is
like-
understandable.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
in a bad place.
So
when I
yeah,
was
like if you're a
watching
person
it.
who has like a hard food relationship, then you know.
Yeah, no, and
This is
also
a tough
if there's
watch.
mental illness anywhere in your family or friends, this film is disrespectful.
Yeah, it is.
Agreed.
Like,
Yeah,
I
I
think
was gonna
everybody
say
at this
that,
table is a little depressy at times.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh my god.
we all get the sads, the anxiety, the anxiouses.
I was gonna say I didn't like the way he was treated, which we've been over this, but like as somebody that was meant like with him being mentally ill, I don't like the way the movie showed him being treated, but I think that's the fucking point, to show that it's not fair.
But then the
They
movie
don't get
treats him
treated-
like shit as well. Like
yeah,
it
I
does.
know. It like is trying to make a point, but doesn't make it good.
Because the movie does it too.
Yeah, but the movie, like, you can tell it's like trying to make a point, just fucking shooting and missing.
Yeah.
like, I don't know. It just felt disrespectful.
Yeah, I see that.
And also, I read somewhere that, like, Joaquin had to get, like, super, super thin for that movie, obviously. And, like...
Well, it's funny. I mean, he offered, but you know what he offered first? He wanted to. This is not a joke. This is true. He wanted to get larger for it. And then conversations were had. He's okay. I can drop a whole bunch of weight for it.
But that's also sort of the way that he acts. He's kind of really like
I love him. He's so great.
he really gets into it.
It's fine if he offered to do it. It's not like they made him.
Right. I read somewhere that, like, he developed an eating disorder. Like, has a problematic relationship with food now. And I feel like, Joaquin, baby.
I don't know if that's true. I'm not saying it isn't.
I mean, I don't know if it is, but...
I know that he's a very, very vocal vegan. Like
Yeah.
very vocal.
Which is not bad.
And he's very
It just makes it
environmentally
easier to-
conscious. I know that, and that's a part of it.
That makes sense.
He's one of the guys who participated in No Meat Mondays. Do you know what that is?
It's where you don't eat meat on Monday.
Oh, it's more than that. You pay people to not eat meat on Mondays.
What? I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was started by that one guy that's dead, right?
He's not dead. His name is Paul McCartney, and he's not dead.
And he's dead.
Wow, Paul McCartney is
Podcast for
not
another
dead.
day. He is dead. The real
We're not doing We're not a
the
conspiracy
real
theory
Paul
podcast.
McCartney at least is dead.
We are not a conspiracy theory.
Oh, you're
podcast.
right. You're right. They did kill Paul.
Paul's alive.
He's dead.
Paul is alive.
Just like Avril Lavigne.
Just
baby.
like Avril
Guys, we
Lavigne,
don't need the
baby.
Illuminati taking us down, okay?
If you're
It's fine.
Illuminati, then you can
Just
support
like
our
how-
Patreon.
Just like how Katy Perry is John Bonet.
Katy Perry is Dominic Ramsey.
and also Britney Spears is made to sing at a higher pitch.
No, that's actually
That's
true.
actually true,
That's
yeah.
literally true.
Oh shit!
She-
There's
does,
a documentary coming out about that.
And
oh
you can,
shit!
You can
I
see
heard that on
videos of
Shane
her
Dawson,
singing.
actually.
That's a real thing. It's the Mickey Mouse Club. They like found her. She had like a deep, like soulful voice
like
at the time.
alto, yeah.
But because of the climate at the time and with the different girl groups that were out, they're like, you need to sing like fucking Minnie Mouse, and she's like, I'm on it. Ugh. And then she did it forever, and now her voice is fucked.
Poor Britney Spears. She's
Oh,
been through
wow.
She's been through some shit, dude.
Leave
love her.
Britney alone.
All right, this is not about Britney Spears though. Let's get some ratings.
Okay.
Wait, but can it be about Britney Spears?
Can we do
No.
a Britney podcast?
Oh, damn it.
Loneliness is
Killing
killing
me.
me.
Please give ratings.
I must confess, the Joker's bad. Baby.
Was she ever in any movies?
Yeah. Crossroads.
Oh yeah, she was. We should do a Britney podcast about Crossroads.
so-
We should
I'm
just
so-
review every Britney music video
Guys,
starting with Toxic.
I'm so ready to pee. Let's please rate this. I'm trying to be nice, but I'm ready to urinate in the toilet right now.
Toxic, come with the taste of your lips. I'm on a ride. I was trying to think about how I can make that about Joker, but then I couldn't
He's
do
over
it.
here stressing.
All right.
I just have to fucking pee
All right,
really
rate
bad.
the fucking movie. Rate it then.
Okay, 3 out of 10.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. I'm gonna go pee now.
All right, bye.
Goodbye.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it
Wait.
a
Should I do the ending music since you're leaving us?
stay for 2 seconds. It'll take a second.
I can do the ending music.
Okay.
Just tell me where it is.
I'm gonna
Which
go
one
ahead.
is it? Okay.
All right.
The pink one or the purple?
God, I'm gonna give it a D+.
Why?
Because though it was though it was good, though there were good things about it, it just wasn't original and it didn't know what it was trying to say, and I wish that it did, because it has the makings of something that could be a good movie and it just wasn't.
I see that.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I feel that. What are you giving it, Bridget?
I'm gonna give it 4 out of 10 because it made me very uncomfortable and it made me feel bad about myself in more
Aw,
ways
baby.
than one. And I didn't want to eat my skyline after.
But
and
we
then-
did.
But we did.
Oh my God, we just revealed our location.
There's skylines all over the place.
No, they're not, Bridget.
I'm not worried about it.
Just pretty much in
I'm
the
just
tri-state
playing.
area.
If you know what Skyline is, you a real one.
You a real
Yeah.
one. But and then also it made me feel like they didn't like mentally ill and or poor people, and it made me feel bad about being mentally ill, and that's my hot take.
They're gonna say about being mentally ill and poor.
I mean, I am.
When you guys after me, can you call me Joker?
And I am kind of poor, so like, I'm a college student, aren't we all?
No.
Poor.
Never once.
College of Life.
You know what? Working class solidarity. Fuck Joker. Let's all rise up, comrades.
Whatever you rate, since I'm back in time.
I gave it a D+.
I haven't even gotten a rating, and everybody's on their second rating. Fuck.
Second rating. I'm not giving it a rating.
No, I give it a D+ if you were curious.
I give 4 out of 10 because it made me feel bad about myself.
Wow.
Franny?
I was actually going to give it the exact same thing as Bridget, 4 out of 10, for very similar reasons. Made me feel like shit because I have struggled with eating disorders. I never like seeing like the gross, but I'm so fucking torn on that because like I like what they were trying to do, but then again they did it in an insulting way. So yeah, that's my hot take.
Oops, I did it again. I copied Martin Scorsese.
Now he hates everything superhero movie. Anyway,
Adios.
see ya.
Bye.
Thanks for listening.
Like and subscribe.
Follow us on Twitter.
Ooh.
Send me an email.
Don't watch
Patreon?
Joker. Don't watch
If you are a Joker fanboy, leave your angry comments below.